Chapter 221. Chapter 221. Welcome to Bai Jiu Mountain. Bai clan leader's face looked extremely dark. She had understood everything. At first she was hesitant, but after seeing the image in the colorful smoke, only an idiot would not understand what had happened. Bai clan leader was no idiot, in fact she was wiser than ordinary people. In Fang Yuan's previous life, she was the one who led Bai clan on the resettlement and set the foundation for the next generation's prosperity. Damn it, how could this happen? Those two scoundrels were actually demonic GU masters. They are too good at acting. Clan leader, the two young masters are in their hands, what do we do? In the tent, the other GU masters were panicking when they looked at this scene. The situation was terrible. Fang Yuan was holding the two young masters hostage, and caused everyone to be cautious in their actions. Bai clan leader forced herself to calm down. She was the birth mother of Bai Hua and Bai Sheng, her worry and anxiety far surpassed the others. However, as someone in power, she had to have her strengths. Other than her identity as a mother, she was also the clan leader. She first ordered her subordinates to release Tai Daoku. We were wrong about you, Tai clan's warrior, I apologize to you here. She stood up and bowed with a sincere expression. Tai Daoku snorted, although he was extremely displeased, he admired Bai clan leader's resolve. After all, he was only a prisoner now, his life and death could have been decided merely at her thought. He gritted his teeth and tried to stand up, but because his body was extremely weak, even this action was taxing on him. Come, bring the Tai clan guest to his seat. Bai clan leader instructed. Tai Daoku sat down, fixing his gaze at the colorful smoke. His gaze seemed to be on fire when he looked at Fang Yuan and Bai Ningbing, causing others to look away. These two are the demonic GU masters who escaped Qingmao Mountain. That explosion trap was set by them. Young Master Tai Tian's death, the ones I am pursuing, are these two youngsters. Tai Daoku etched Bai and Fang's appearances and their body shapes into his mind. No, it might not be them, this could all be a misunderstanding. Tai Daoku thought of another possibility. He was upright, and never killed an innocent. Regardless, I have to confirm it myself. If they aren't, I will pursue the true criminals. If they are, I shall cripple these two rascals' apertures and tear them to pieces. Thinking so, he spoke. Bai clan leader, the matter at hand is to arrest these two scoundrels, as well as saving your clans, two young masters. Tai clan warrior, what do you have to advise me? Bai clan leader wanted to get some useful information from Tai Daoku. But she was destined to be disappointed. Tai Daoku shook his head, smiling bitterly. In the cave, swords were brandished. All of you, get out, do you want me to repeat myself again? Fang Yuan threatened in a cold snicker. Fang Zheng, what are you doing? What is going on? Why are you holding the two young masters hostage? Bai Lian, Bai Sheng and the others were tongue-tied. They thought he had found the spirit spring, but everything happened in a flash. Who would have thought that Fang Yuan would suddenly go crazy and kidnap the two young masters? Whoosh, 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 three figures suddenly appeared. Fang Zheng, you dare to hold our clan's young masters hostage? How dare you, your crime is unforgivable. Release them, and we may spare you your life. Fang Zheng, release them now, and come back with us, we will let you leave safely. The three clan elders spoke, their expression extremely ugly. They were strong, and followed this group the entire time. But the moment they sensed this change, they rushed to the scene. You guys finally decided to show yourselves. Excellent, Fang Yuan snickered. Bai Sheng and Bai Hua struggled intensely in his hands. Evil scoundrel, release us. If you kill me, you will die too. The two children shouted with all their strength, their faces were turning red from suffocation. These two children were future rank 5 GU masters, lords of Bai clan, the righteous twin stars. But now, unfortunately, they were defenseless and were being strangled by Fang Yuan. After a while, their eyes started rolling back and their breathing slowed. Fang Zheng, don't make a mistake, release the two young masters. We've given you the chance, as long as you release the young masters, we will let you leave, we will definitely not pursue you. What do you want? Primeval stones, GU worms. The three clan elders were anxious, and their eyes revealed a ruthless expression as if they couldn't wait to attack. HMPH, weren't my earlier words clear enough? All of you get out, if not. Fang Yuan laughed deviously, using his gaze to signal to Bai Ningbing. Bai Ningbing understood, taking out the chainsaw golden centipede. She injected primeval essence into it, and the razors started rotating furiously, moving towards Bai Hua's tender arm. Let go of my sister, let go. Bai Sheng stared furiously, His breathing started getting rough as he struggled with all his strength, but Fang Yuan used just a little more strength and his words were stuck in his throat. Don't be rash. Stop, stop. At this point, more and more GU masters entered, and everyone were screaming in anxiety. Fang Yuan laughed loudly. On the count of 3, if you are not all out of this cave, your young master's limb will be gone. Everyone gritted their teeth, their eyes burning with fire, they wanted nothing more than to chop Fang Yuan into pieces. Still not leaving, Fang Yuan's eyebrows rose and he moved Bai Hua closer towards the chainsaw. Ah! Everyone screamed. My god! A young female GU masters covered her eyes. Quickly, get out of the cave. The clan elders shouted, they did not dare to gamble with their young masters' lives. Everyone gradually retreated, staring at Fang and Bai on the way out. If gazes could kill a person, Fang Yuan would have been dead a million times. If rage was like water, they would have drowned under the tsunami already. When everyone was out of the cave, Fang Yuan passed Bai Hua and Bai Sheng to Bai Ningbing, before surveying the surrounding. Bai Jiu Mountain was made of bones with no rocks or soil. This cave was the same, white throughout. The cave walls even had sharp bone spikes, although these bone spikes looked the same as in other caves. In fact, if one observed properly, they would find that these bone spikes were spiral at the tip, different from others. This was the Spiral Bone Cave, also the entrance to the Grey Bone Scholar's inheritance. The entire Baiju Mountain had many caves, but this was the only cave with so many spiral bone spikes. Fang Yuan had never been here. But in his previous life he had heard many stories which were even testified by Bai Sheng and Bai Hua personally. We entered the Spiral Bone Cave first, then accidentally found a bone spike that could be twisted. It was the mechanism to open the entrance. Fang Yuan thought for a while, before starting to search for that special bone spike. There were uncountable bone spikes in this cave, but in Fang Yuan's previous life, Bai Hua had revealed that back then when she and her brother had been playing in the back mountain, she saw a large bone spike in the cave, with very closely carved spiral markings. She touched it casually, and accidentally twisted it, opening the entrance. Fang Zheng, you are surrounded. There is no way to escape, come out. To be honest, we were quite kind to you, to think you returned our kindness with ingratitude. Fang Zheng, I'll give you some advice, leave some leeway for yourself. If anything happens to our young masters, we will take revenge on you with all our might. The cave was not deep, the shouts of the GU masters could be heard echoing inside. Bai Hua started to sob. Bai Sheng said, Fang Zheng, stop it. Release us and I will let you two leave in peace. I assure you as the young master. He was young, but was calmer than an adult facing this predicament. The brilliance of a future star was already being displayed in him. Fang Yuan paid them no heed, suddenly his eyes shone. He took a step forward before stretching his hand towards a rather conspicuous large bone spike. Next, he twisted it lightly. Creak, there was a loud sound and the bone spikes began to contract. A secret door opened from the side, revealing a squarish cave opening. Bai Ningbing's eyes shone. Bai Hua stopped crying, staring at this change in shock. Ah, there's a cave. Bai Sheng shouted, HMPH, keep your mouth shut. Bai Ningbing chopped on his neck, knocking him unconscious. Bai Sheng had screamed on purpose to leave traces for the people outside. As expected, a commotion occurred outside. Cave. Not good, they're trying to escape. Chase. Fang Yuan growled. If anyone dares to step inside, I will kill Bai Sheng first. This shout stopped the Bai clan GU masters. Fang Yuan quickly walked into the cave. Bai Ningbing also knocked Bai Hua unconscious, carrying them on each of her hands and followed. This secret path was well lit, shining with a pure white light. It was just that there were bone spikes everywhere, stabbed into the walls like sharp spears. These bone spears were densely packed, sealing the whole tunnel. There was only a little space between them, allowing Fang Yuan to see a hall beyond them. It seems this is the reason you came to Baiju Mountain. I'll open a path for us. Bai Ningbing moved ahead, trying to use the chainsaw golden centipede, but Fang Yuan stopped her. These bone spears are extremely tough, don't be in a hurry. Fang Yuan searched around according to what Bai Hua had said in his previous life. He found the shortest spiral bone spike, and pulled it. Creak, another sound of some mechanisms being activated. The cave behind the two sealed itself while the bone spears in the tunnel contracted back into the walls. Suddenly, the path ahead was smooth and unobstructed. Fang Yuan laughed heartily, turning and saying to Bai Ningbing, welcome to Baiju Mountain. Bai Ningbing's gaze flickered, as she looked behind subconsciously. The cave entrance behind her had sealed itself. The Bai clan GU masters would need to spend quite a bit of time to pursue them, at least to open this cave entrance. Bai Ningbing's lips curled, revealing an excited smile. Everything had become interesting. This was the life that she was after. Chapter 222. Chapter 222, White Bone Inheritance 1. The secret tunnel was not long. After walking for a while, Fang and Bai arrived at a huge hall. The pure white hall was made out of bones. In the center was a huge vat. The vat was filled with milk-like white liquid that was giving off a fragrant smell. As Fang Yuan got close to it, his memories resurfaced. According to Bai Hua, this vat should be connected to a spring below it. This spring was a milk spring. The spring water tasted like milk, a clean sweet taste. Not only was it a top-tier beverage, it was also extremely nutritious. Children grew better drinking it, and the elderly could maintain a strong healthy body as well. Milk spring was the specialty product of Bai Jiu Mountain. In Fang Yuan's previous life, after Bai clan relocated here, they unearthed 5 milk springs, causing it to become their specialty production, and even used it as a commercial product to attract many traders and merchants to come and make a deal. There is a GU inside this vat, Fang Yuan said, indicating to Bai Ningbing using his gaze. Although according to his memories, there was no danger at this location, Fang Yuan was vigilant. After all, this was not something he had experienced personally, and his information was all from a third party. Things that carried risks, he'd rather let others do it. Bai Ningbing snorted, activating her defense and putting her hand into the vat. There are so many GU inside. Her brows raised in shock. When she pulled her hand out, her hand was full of GU worms. These GU were as large as a human finger and were completely white. One end was round while the other was sharp, like a miniature spear. This was the Bone Spear GU. Although this GU is only rank 1, the whole vat is almost filled to the brim with it. Bai Ningbing was slightly excited. Bone Spear GU was similar to GUU clan's Moonlight GU in that it was the foundational GU of the White Bone Inheritance. In his previous life, after Bai clan found this inheritance, many of the clan's GU masters equipped this GU, thus the Bone Spear GU also became a characteristic of Bai clan's GU masters. Look around again, there should be a rank 2 GU inside. Fang Yuan stood at the side with a plain expression. Bai Ningbing hauled for a few more times, before finally finding a rank 2 GU. This GU was similar to the Bone Spear GU, but on the surface of the Bone Spear, there were spiral markings, Spiral Bone Spear GU. This GU was the evolution of the Bone Spear GU, its attack power and penetrative force was higher than the Bone Spear GU. In the huge vat, the Bone Spear GU was in the majority, and only a small number were Spiral Bone Spear GU. This way, I finally have a standard method of attacking. Fang Yuan grabbed a Spiral Bone Spear GU and thought. Charred Thunder Potato GU was very unstable, it needed to be planted in the ground, and it would have been planted in vain if others do not step on it. Also, if a GU master with core memory planted it and forgot the location of the potatoes, he might even injure himself by accident. Moreover, the Charred Thunder Potato GU's use had restrictions. It must be used in soil, and the more fertile the soil the better. As for a special location like Bai Jiu Mountain, the Charred Thunder Potato could not be used. Otherwise, Fang Yuan would not mind setting 1 or 2 more traps here. A pity there isn't a rank 3 GU. Bai Ningbing was slightly disappointed. She chose a Spiral Bone Spear GU and placed it into her sleeves, planning to refine it later. She only felt curiosity towards these types of rank 2 GU worms. They could not display the true power of a rank 3 GU master in battles. Seeing no danger in the vat, Fang Yuan started to act. He hauled GU worms after GU worms out of the vat, and used the Spring Autumn Cicada's aura to instantly refine them using his primeval essence. This. What? Bai Ningbing was tongue-tied at this scene. In the matter of a few minutes, Fang Yuan had already refined a few dozen GU worms, and he was still continuing. Because of the Spring Autumn Cicada, he could instantly refine them. And because of his aptitude in the Heavenly Essence Treasure Lotus, his primeval essence recovery speed was much greater than the refining expenditure, thus he could continue the refinement non-stop. This was a crazy sight. Fang Yuan refined over 200 Bone Spear GU in his aperture, and over 20 Spiral Bone Spear GU. GU refinement was a tough barrier for GU masters. Although Bai Ningbing had seen Fang Yuan instantly refine GU a few times before, it had never been so visually impactful. In Fang Yuan's hand, refining GU worms was as easy as eating and drinking. No, it was simply as easy as blinking. Simply way too easy. What secret does he have? Bai Ningbing was very shocked. Fang Yuan's image became even more mysterious in her heart. But on the surface, she just curled her lips and said calmly, "You got so many GU worms at once, can you afford to raise them?" Fang Yuan laughed. "Of course not. Bone spear GU, spiral bone spear GU, they all fed on milk. Thus, they were kept in this vat of milk. Don't see how this milk spring is one full vat, the expenditure was huge, only because there is a spring eye at the bottom of the vat, can it sustain till now. If Fang Yuan wants to raise and feed so many GU worms, he would need to have a milk spring himself. Even though I can't feed them, I would rather bring more with me, than let the Bai clan people gain them." Fang Yuan laughed, pointing to the vat. "Alright, destroy the rest of the GU." The vat had way too many GU worms, although Fang Yuan refined a lot of them, considering the limits of his rank 1 aperture, there was still a large number left behind. A moment later, Bai Ningbing looked at the floor of GU corpses with a complicated expression. She knew clearly what the value of these GU were. Destroying them was tantamount to destroying a small mountain of primeval stones, even Bai Ningbing felt heartache. But, rather than leaving them for enemies, and letting Bai clan take them and grow stronger, they might as well destroy all the GU. The two left the hall, and moved along another secret tunnel, getting to the second white hall. At the center of the hall, there were 3 white bone pillars. At the tip of the pillar, it was carved into a human hand, without skin or flesh, only left with bones. In the white bone hand, they each held 1 GU. 3 pillars, 3 slumbering GU worms. Fang and Bai got closer, and saw what was carved on the pillars, explaining characteristics of the 3 GU. Ribcage shield GU, flying bone shield GU, arm bone wings GU. Bai Ningbing stared at the pillar, muttering. Very quickly, her gaze was focused on a line. 3, choose 1, satisfied at heart. Bai GU inheritance, left for future descendants. The meaning was obvious, they can only choose 1 GU, and leave the others to future inheritors. Ribcage shield GU, could cause a GU master to grow 2 rows of ribcages, shielding their chest, and had great defense. It was a rank 3 GU, advantages being, other than the initial growth period, which needs a lot of primeval essence, afterwards it can be sustained without primeval essence, something like the heavenly essence treasure lotus, after it is refined, it can be used without injecting primeval essence. Flying bone shield GU, after using, 3 flying bone shields would fly out, being small and floating around the GU master's surroundings. Arm bone wings GU, would grow a pair of bone wings at the forearm area, waving the wings would increase movement speed slightly, most importantly it increased attack speed. Ribcage shield GU can be used together with the carapace GU, to form defenses front and back. But the carapace GU is bound to be replaced, and only the ribcage shield GU alone is not wide enough. I have the jumping grass, and do not fight close combat, the arm bone wings GU is also useless. Fang Yuan thought about it, and chose the flying bone shield GU. He smashed the bone arm, refining the flying bone shield GU and keeping it in his aperture. As for the other 2 GU, he did not touch them. This is a righteous faction inheritance, this area tested the self-control of the inheritor, if they cannot control their greed and desires, taking all 3 GU, then the future tunnels would change drastically, although there would not be devious traps, their rewards would be much lower. Righteous inheritance is unlike demonic inheritance. Normally speaking, they are designed kindly. GU masters having luck to encounter their opportunities would gain them, the only difference is how much. Bai Ningbing seeing Fang Yuan not moving, also did not dare to move the pillars, afraid of special traps. The two moved along the secret tunnel entering a 3rd hall. There was no more tunnels now after the hall, only 1 human skeleton in the cave in a sitting position. Before the human skeleton, there was a huge book. This book was made with bones, as long as an arm, wide as half an arm, and as thick as 8 inches. Fang Yuan indicated to Bai Ningbing to pick it up, and seeing no danger, took the book from her. This book was named Grey Bone Huge Book by the Bai clan twins in his previous life. Inside, there were many refinement recipes as well as the creator of the inheritance, Grey Bone Scholar's life experiences and why he set up this inheritance. Fang Yuan flipped the book, it was truly so. This is a genuine righteous inheritance. At the end of the book it says, this corpse is the Grey Bone Scholar himself. If the future inheritor has the kindness, they might as well pay respects to it, and kowtow 3 times. Afterwards, they can split the skull apart, and obtain 1 GU. That is the Grey Bone Scholar's life-bound GU, if the inheritor obtains it, they should make the world a better place and uphold justice. Fang Yuan laughed upon seeing this, handing the Grey Bone Huge Book to Bai Ningbing and kneeling on the ground, kowtowing 3 times respectfully. This was a true kowtow. His forehead hit the rough floor, emitting 3 loud sounds. Bai Ningbing was surprised, not expecting this side of Fang Yuan. After Fang Yuan finished, he stood up, and there was no commotion in the hall. He did not mind it, smiling lightly. In this hall, there are no more secret tunnels, but it is not the end. This place tests the inheritor's nature. If the person is kind-hearted and knows gratitude, they would kowtow. If they do 3 genuine knocks on the ground, a new tunnel would appear. But this is only one aspect. If they not only kowtow, but do not move the corpse, showing respect for the corpse of the senior, a second path would appear. In the previous life, Bai Sheng and Bai Hua both kowtow, but Bai Hua was afraid of pain, not giving off a loud sound. But Bai Sheng triggered the first path. Bai Sheng wanted to retrieve the Gu, but Bai Hua stood him, wanting to leave the senior in peace. Thus, Bai Hua triggered the second path. Fang Yuan thought about it, looking at Bai Hua and Bai Sheng. They were carried by Bai Ningbing, still unconscious. Bai Ningbing also looked at them, sighing, "It seems that from now on, we have to rely on these two to protect our lives. But I am very curious, what the life-bound Gu of this grey bone scholar is. Let's split the skull." Fang Yuan shook his head. This is the most exquisite part of the inheritance. Curiosity would make a person want to see the Gu inside the skull, and the better they imagine it, it would be even greater than seeing the real thing. Don't be rash. Once he finished, a part of the bone wall shrunk, moving away and revealing a new tunnel. I see. Bai Ningbing seemed to have understood something, about to strike but stopped by Fang Yuan. Although this cave is correct, it is not the most valuable one. Wait a bit longer. Waiting makes time feel much slower. Especially when Fang and Bai are still being pursued by Bai clan. After waiting for 5 minutes, Bai Ningbing started to get impatient, but suddenly a new door slid open, revealing another tunnel. Haha, this is it. Fang Yuan laughed loudly, moving forward and raising his leg, smashing grey bone scholar's corpse to bits. When this tunnel appeared, the corpse lost its meaning. Fang Yuan took out a Gu from the skull, a rank 3 bone spike Gu. Chapter 223. Chapter 223, White Bone Inheritance 2. Rumble. There was an explosion, smoke and dust filled the air before clearing up to reveal a cave. There really was a cave. No wonder they disappeared completely, they must have entered this cave. It's odd, why is there such a mechanism here? Ah, clan leader is here. Bai clan leader had arrived just in time to see the group blasting open the wall and revealing the secret tunnel. This should be an inheritance ground. Accompanying the clan leader was Tai Daoku, who deduced it at a glance. So it was like that, those two thieves' true destination was here. Bai clan leader gritted her teeth as a chilling light flashed past her eyes. Truly great acting. She had been recalling the scenes of her interaction with these two in these few days, on her way here. The more she recalled, the angrier she got. She was actually duped by two youths. The majestic Bai clan leader along with a group of clansmen were all playing into two juniors' hands. If words of this were to spread, it would be an enormous strike towards Bai clan's reputation. Junior didn't handle it properly and couldn't protect the two young masters. Clan leader, I ask for punishment. Bai Lian, Bai Shengjing and others nervously knelt on the ground, asking for forgiveness. Stand up, you only did it according to my instructions. If we have to blame someone, we can only blame those two thieves for being too cunning. Bai clan leader's words relieved Bai Lian and the group from a great burden. You have been in contact with these two thieves all the time, did you really not find any flaws? Tai Daoku asked. The three girls stood up with complicated expressions. It was especially so for Bai Lian. She had been thinking she was playing Fang and Bai like toys in her palms, but to think that she was the one that was played. There were no flaws. Those two were too capable at pretending. Thinking back now, they were using our Bai clan. Truly cunning and devious. The three girls shook their heads as a reply to Tai Daoku. Tai Daoku had also learned about the general situation from Bai clan leader on the way. Of course, the matter regarding Bai clan spirit spring was naturally not revealed. Yes, as you say, those two thieves' real purpose should have been this place. Their strength is not enough to let them wander around Bai Gu mountain, so they borrowed your Bai clan's strength. Tai Daoku analyzed from a third-person view. Bai clan's Gu masters' faces turned ugly upon hearing him. It was indeed so. In these days, they had sacrificed a lot and paid a huge price to pave a way through Bai Gu mountain. However, they ended up paving the way for Fang and Bai. Curse these two scoundrels. If those two thieves land in my hand, I will cut them into pieces. Clan leader, let my group take this task. I will kill those bastards and wipe away this disgrace. In an instant, the mountain cave was filled with angry uproars. Bai clan leader looked around her before slightly nodding her head. It was not that she didn't want cruelest deaths for Fang and Bai. As the mother of Bai Sheng and Bai Hua, she hated not being able to be with her children at this moment. Morale was at its peak as the entire clan was motivated by anger. Bai clan leader looked towards the elder who had asked her to let him take the task. Then I order your group to pave the way through this secret tunnel. Yes, the elder accepted the command. Hold up, the bone spikes in this passage are uneven and completely sealed off. How did those two thieves enter inside? There must be some mechanism. Let me check it first. Tai Daoku raised an objection. The elder who had just accepted the command glared. It is an emergency now, the two masters are in grave danger, it's going to take forever trying to slowly look for the mechanism. Bone spike GU, Fang Yuan held this GU and observed its details. This GU was about a fist-sized and was like a ball cactus, with thorns like bone spikes all over on its surface. It was also somewhat heavy. It was a rank 3 GU, a typical GU which would damage both the enemy and the user. If the enemy received 1000 damage, then the user would be inflicted with 800 damage. The reason was when a GU master used it, their skeleton would undergo changes before sharp and hard bone spikes protrude out. Before even using these bone spikes to confront the enemy, these bone spikes would first pierce through the GU master's own flesh and skin. The pain was still secondary. If there wasn't a corresponding healing GU to pair up with it, the situation would truly be messed up. The enemy might not die, but it sure would seriously injure the GU master that used it. What GU is this? Bai Ningbing curiously gazed at it. But when she heard Fang Yuan's introduction, she lost all her interest. It was not that she was afraid of pain, but rather she was already using ice muscle GU. All the flesh on her body was already permanently changed to ice muscle by the ability of ice muscles GU. It not only gave her defense but also stopped perspiration and stopped bleeding. However, if she used this bone spikes GU, it would first remove her ice muscles, which to her was a loss instead of gain. Fang Yuan was also not too interested in this bone spikes GU. But it was after all a rank 3 GU, thus Fang Yuan refined it and stored it in his aperture for the moment. Let's go. Fang Yuan chose the hidden door which appeared in the last. Bai Ningbing was still the one to scout ahead. A downward flight of stairs was spread inside the door. This flight of stairs was long, at least about 1000 meters. The surrounding lights gradually dimmed when they reached the latter half of the stairs, and the stairs were also getting narrower. By the time Fang and Bai reached the end of the stairs, the light had almost completely disappeared. In front of them was a tightly closed door. There were 4 words carved on the door: Flesh Sack Secret Chamber. These bones are really goddamn hard. Bai clan elder cursed out as he wiped the sweat off his forehead. 15 minutes had already passed, but they had only opened this secret tunnel by half. These uneven densely packed bone spikes didn't look any different from the stones of Baiju Mountain. But only after attacking them would one realize how shocking hard these bones were. Bai clan leader's expression also didn't look good. The more time passed by, the more danger her children could be in. Right now, this mother felt a century had painfully passed by instead of just 15 minutes. However, as a clan leader, she had to be calm and cool even if it was only on the surface. She had to be a role model to give confidence to her clansmen. Crack. Suddenly, a light sound echoed. The mechanism had turned on, causing the remaining bone spikes to swiftly shrink back to the holes on the cave walls. Everyone was shocked and looked towards the source one after another. Tai Daoku touched his chin and analyzed to himself. This mechanism is somewhat ingenious. To open the entrance, one would need to twist the spiral bone spike. This leaves a deep impression on people, and when people come to this secret tunnel, they would often rely on this impression and try twisting the spiral bone spikes near them. Unfortunately, to shut down this mechanism would require one to pull up the spiral bone spike and not twist them. In that instant, everyone was dumbfounded. The elder who had accepted the command was now completely red and seemed to be very embarrassed. After the group passed through this secret tunnel, they arrived at the first hall. They were stunned. All around them were dismembered corpses. These corpses were the result of Bai Ningbing killing the GU worms that were in the vat. These should be bone spear GU, and there are also spiral bone spear GU. Some elders quickly recognized these GU. This really is an inheritance ground. In all my life, this is the first time I am experiencing it. Someone said excitedly. Look, there is a big vat in the middle. What could be inside it? Someone curiously pointed at the vat. However, the vat didn't have anything other than the milk spring. The Bai clan group were disappointed and then turned furious. These thieves really don't leave room for compromise. They didn't leave behind anything. Damn it, so heartless, they destroyed so many GU worms. Many cursed out in sorrow and indignation. Even the elders felt grief at this. Let's move quickly, the earlier we catch them, the less the damage we suffer. Tai Daoku said, causing everyone's gazes to brighten. With this stimulation, the morale of the group increased even higher, wishing they could immediately appear in front of Fang and Bai. The group then arrived at the second hall and saw the 3 stone pillars. There are GU worms left. The GU master in front shouted in happiness. Please take a look, clan leader. Soon, arm bone wings and rib shield GU both appeared in the clan leader's sight. Bai clan leader glanced at them and then made her people stow them. She didn't feel any happiness. Compared to GU worms, she was more concerned for her children's safety. Did you see? Those 2 GU were rank 3 GU worms. This inheritance really makes one anticipate what's coming. Luck and misfortune comes in turn, this saying is really true. Some were deeply moved and some were in awe. Don't you find it odd? Why did they leave behind these GU? On the contrary, Tai Daoku could clearly sense something fishy as a spectator. 3. Choose one, satisfied at heart. By GU inheritance, left for future descendants. Someone soon discovered the words carved in the stone pillar. This doesn't look like a demonic path inheritance, I am afraid it is left behind by a righteous path GU master. Tisk, heart is satisfied, but none of us are satisfied. Let's move, quick, we need to save the 2 young masters first, it won't be late to visit it again later. The group urged each other and arrived to the 3rd hall. They saw the skeleton sitting cross-legged in an enormous bone book. Grey Bone Scholar. So this inheritance belonged to this senior. An elder opened the book and realized that this was indeed a righteous path inheritance. Bai clan leader's furrowed brows relaxed a little. This was the first good news she had heard till now. Righteous path inheritance was usually mild and wasn't treacherous like demonic path inheritance. Tai Daoku, however, was starting to frown. He increasingly felt something was wrong, the words on the stone pillar had given to an indescribable worry in him. The group picked up the smashed skull and saw a bone spike GU inside it. Following that, a part of the stone wall slid open and showed a new secret tunnel. The group entered this passage. Flesh sack secret chamber, Bai Ningbing murmured before trying to push open the door. The door was not locked at all and easily opened. Behind the door was a hidden room which was not that big, but was very grotesque. The walls in the hidden room were all made of flesh. When Fang and Bai walked inside, they felt like they had walked into the stomach of some monster. The flesh walls were warm and slightly throbbed rhythmically as if there was a heart inside them. As if sensing someone's presence, the flesh walls suddenly opened up a small crack and revealed white teeth all over it. Bai Ningbing was astonished. There seemed to be countless opened large mouths in the flesh walls. The mouths opened up with jaws clenched, revealing a set of even teeth. The phrase, "bearing one's fangs," seemed to match this scene perfectly. Hee 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 ha 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 hee hee hee. These mouths let out all kinds of laughing sounds. The laughs mixed together and echoed in this narrow secret chamber, anyone that heard it would feel their hearts palpitate. Chapter 224. Chapter 224. White Bone Inheritance End. This flesh sack secret chamber was strange. The surrounding flesh walls were filled with mouths and the mouths were open, revealing tightly clenched white teeth. Not only this, these mouths were even letting out strange laughters, making one shiver all over. Fang Yuan patted Bai Ningbing's shoulder. This is the effect of flesh laughter GU, it is just like earth treasury flour, and is used to store GU worms. No need to worry too much. He had just finished saying this, when suddenly the teeth completely fell off from an open mouth and a scarlet tongue extended from the mouth. The tongue was very long, about over a meter, and the front part was curled up. When the tongue fully extended, the tip of the tongue started straightening and revealed a book on it. This was a bone book too, except it was many times smaller than the gray bone huge book, pocket-sized, about half of an adult's palm. Fang Yuan took it and then started looking through it. The main idea behind the contents of the book was, since the successor could reach this place, it is a proof of your pure nature and you can now inherit my true inheritance. I have 2 identities, Grey Bone Scholar, and Flesh Bone Master. This flesh sack secret chamber holds many GU, if the successor is fated, you can try knocking the teeth, if your luck is good and you open the teeth, you could take the GU worm hibernating inside. This is purely testing one's luck. Fang Yuan understood when he read this. Bai Hua hadn't told him about this barrier in detail, in his previous life. Fang Yuan could only test it randomly. The first to succeed, however, wasn't him, but Bai Ningbing. Bai Ningbing bent her forefinger and lightly knocked the teeth. These teeth were like musical instruments and would produce some kind of clear musical tone when they were hit. She had just randomly knocked, and this mouth suddenly stopped its laughter, its teeth completely fell off and scarlet long tongue extended out from it, revealing within it a GU. What GU is this? After looking at this GU, pleasant surprise emerged in Bai Ningbing's face before changing into an odd expression. This GU looked quite peculiar as it looked like a set of dentures, spotless white teeth with an exceptionally neat set of upper and lower teeth, and gave off a pearl-like luster. Fang Yuan looked at it and immediately, a pleasantly surprised expression appeared on his face. Not bad, this is the famous rank 3 healing GU, flesh bone GU. Raising the dead, flesh white bone, Bai Ningbing mumbled. Rising dead GU was accepted as the number 1 healing GU among rank 4. Even if a GU master died, as long as the time of death didn't cross 14 hours and their whole bodies were intact, one could use this GU to resurrect them. However, this GU could only be obtained by chance and not by seeking it as it was too valuable and rare. It was also a one-time use expendable GU, with high demand but no supply. Flesh bone was a rank 3 GU, but it wasn't an expendable GU and could be used again and again. It was often used together with rising dead GU. If a GU master's corpse wasn't intact, one could first use flesh bone GU to reconstruct their flesh, and then use rising dead GU to resurrect the GU master. Throughout the history, this pairing was quite common and had benefited a lot of big shots, among them were even rank 9 Immortal Venerables and Demon Venerables. This was an ideal healing GU to Fang Yuan. Fang Yuan had painfully searched for such a long time, and now his wish was finally being realized. Hehe, want it? You can exchange it with Yang GU. Bai Ningbing held this GU in his hand and laughed in satisfaction. Fang Yuan sneered. You think I am stupid? Bai Ningbing's smile faded and her gaze became cold. We can come to an agreement as long as you hand over the Yang GU. Fang Yuan, I have followed you for so long, but know that my patience has a limit. I am no longer afraid of death, at worst we will both die together. You aren't afraid of death, but do you think I am afraid? Fang Yuan sneered. He had already expected such a situation and thus wasn't surprised. Bai Ningbing took back her gaze and then carefully checked the flesh bone GU on her hand. The corner of her lips curled up. Killing you might also be a good option. Look at yourself, you only have rank 1 cultivation but you can actually instantly refine GU, and you also have the heavenly essence treasure lotus. Besides these, if I kill you, I can at least possess this inheritance. Just thinking about it makes my heart beat in excitement. Bai Ningbing's words were full of threat. Possess this inheritance. Haha, did you forget the Bai clan who is chasing us? They might even be walking down the flight of stairs outside right this moment. Without me, do you know where to go to next? This inheritance looks like a one-way path from the surface, but actually has many branches. I can indeed not fight you at the moment, but you are too naive to think you can seize the treasures by killing me. Do you think I will give you the opportunity to take the Yang GU? Just try it, if you don't believe me. Fang Yuan then turned around and started knocking at the teeth again. In fact, he also didn't know where to go from here, as this secret chamber didn't have any other passages. Bai Ningbing looked at the completely defenseless back of Fang Yuan. It looked like she could kill him if she just made a slight move. But against all reason, Bai Ningbing, however, didn't dare make a move recklessly. Fang Yuan's words all struck her mind. Without Fang Yuan, how should she move next? Returning the way she came would be a death road. Bai Ningbing narrowed her eyes, and for a moment, she even felt, as even the Bai clan's attack under Fang Yuan's calculation, creating an external force to prevent her from killing him for the benefits. Till now, Bai Ningbing was in a puzzled state. She couldn't understand. Why would Bai clan cooperate and accompany Fang Yuan all the way here? In fact, her heart concealed deep worry ever since she was controlled by Fang Yuan. Yang Jiyu was with Fang Yuan. She had always been worried Fang Yuan would use this to threaten her. Although Fang Yuan said he would hand over the Yang Jiyu to her once his cultivation reached rank 3, what kind of person was Fang Yuan? Bai Ningbing couldn't be more clear about this. Going back on his words was a common thing to him, as natural as eating food and drinking water. She might as well go die rather than to believe in Fang Yuan. Let's take an example of something that happened just recently. That miserable Bai clan leader, wasn't she an able woman? An elite and a very wise person, but after believing in Fang Yuan, what was her current state? Fang Yuan was too good of an actor. Goosebumps covered Bai Ningbing's body when she recalled the scene of Fang Yuan's tears in the banquet. This was a genuine sly fox. He even intentionally glanced at Bai Lian repeatedly, just to lay a trap in which Bai Clan was very happy to step in. She could still remember the brilliant expression on Bai Lian when Fang Yuan revolted, shocked and lifeless. What Bai Ningbing was most worried about now was Fang Yuan not handing over the Yang Jiyu even after reaching rank 3. The possibility was too big. Now I am a rank 3 and he is still rank 1, I can still hold some initiative. But in the future when his cultivation reaches rank 3 or higher, wouldn't I just be controlled by him and become his chess piece? Bai Ningbing was holding this kind of worry in her heart, and this worry deepened even more after Fang Yuan used green copper relic Jiyu and instantly broke through to rank 1 upper stage. Bai Ningbing was worried, but right now, there were many who were more worried than her, their worries even reaching an extreme point. What's going on? A group of people stood outside the exit of the inheritance and looked at their surroundings, their faces turning horribly ugly. They had moved quickly through the path and charged through several bone halls. They were able to make some gains, but from the start to end, they didn't encounter Fang and Bai. In the end, they walked out of the secret tunnel, to the outside of the mountain. It really is like this. Tai Daoku suddenly exclaimed. His words immediately attracted the attention of many. Brother Tai, what do you mean? Bai clan leader immediately asked. If it was before, she would have already realized the answer with her astute senses. But now, her children were kidnapped and as time continued to pass by, she became more disconcerted. This Bai Jiyu mountain inheritance seems to be a one-way path, but it actually has many branches. Like this branch in my hand. He casually broke off a thin branch from a bone tree near him. The path at the start should have been the same for both us and them, thus we could see their traces on our way. But afterwards, we should have walked through a branch path and they should have walked into another branch. Do you still remember the second hall? There were 3 pillars and I suspect that there was a contraption set up in the pillars. When we walked into the third hall, there was the grey bone scholar's skeleton but there were no signs of the skeleton being moved. The crucial point should be the secret tunnel after the second hall. Tai Daoku hadn't finished speaking when Bai clan leader coldly shouted, let's go back. Time continued to pass. Fang Yuan really wished time could extend by 50-60 times right now. He knew Bai Jiyu Mountain's inheritance, it could at most hoodwink someone for a while. When Bai clan Jiyu masters realized the truth behind the structures, he and Bai Ningbing would be in danger. But as it so happens, he didn't know how to continue from here. The secret chamber didn't have any other passages. They definitely couldn't return back the way they came. Even if the majority of Bai clan group walked through another passage, they will definitely have some people guarding the exit. Could this secret chamber already be the final area? Did Bai Hua and Bai Sheng obtain all their Jiyu worms from these mouths? That can't be. The rumors in my previous life said Bai Hua and Bai Sheng arrived at a precipice after going through this inheritance site. This rumor has been publicly approved by Bai clan. Maybe the mechanism to open the passage is hidden in one of these mouths. Fang Yuan's mind moved lightning fast. They didn't have much time left. Bai Ningbing was confused, he didn't know the state they were in and only thought Fang Yuan had made some plans. However, Fang Yuan knew their situation was becoming more perilous. This door didn't have any defensive functions, who knows whether a furious mob of Bai clan Jiyu masters might come crashing down the door the next moment. By then, we can only rely on Bai Hua and Bai Sheng as our protective amulets. But this is not a very reliable guarantee. This world has many magical Jiyu worms. There are many with control abilities like causing dizziness, hypnosis, paralysis and so on. Bai clan is a powerful clan and definitely has such methods. When he thought of this, Fang Yuan couldn't help looking at Bai Hua and Bai Sheng. The twin siblings were lying on the ground, still unconscious. Got it. Fang Yuan suddenly got a great idea. He decided to wake up these 2 kids. First of all, time was pressing, he needed more manpower. Second, Bai Hua and Bai Sheng were the true fated owners of Bai Jiyu Mountain inheritance. What's more, they were both mortals, there was no need to worry they could cause any accidents. Executing his ideas immediately, Fang Yuan quickly walked over and kicked the twins. Chapter 225. Chapter 225. Jade Bones, Steel Bones. Rumble. There was an explosive sound before the bone wall collapsed, a new path appeared in everyone's sights. Destroying was much easier than creating, especially when this inheritance didn't have anyone controlling it. We have news from ahead. The 5th path has been completely investigated but the target hasn't been found. Reporting to clan leader, I entered the 6th path and found a bone hall. There was a skeleton and a huge bone book in it. Reporting, 7th path also has a hall with similar structure, with a skeleton sitting cross-legged and also a bone book. Reporting, discovered the 8th path. Search again. Bai clan leader's face was gloomy, there were over 7 giant bone books piled up in front of her. This design really is in accordance to people's hearts. When a GU master finds the skeleton in the bone book, they would subconsciously have a misunderstanding by thinking they already inherited the whole inheritance, but in truth Grey Bone Scholar has set up many similarly structured halls. The true inheritance should be hidden in one of the paths. Tai Daoku was deeply interested. Bai clan leader's brows furrowed even deeper. The situation had become complicated. She wasn't worried Fang and Bai would head back the way they came, since she had already arranged many people to guard the entrance. What she was worried about was Fang and Bai would escape from some paths in the inheritance. After all, she could only control the entrance and not the countless exits. Right at this moment, a GU master rushed over with an ecstatic expression. Found it. We found a bone hall in the 8th path. The skeleton in there has been smashed to pieces and the GU worm in the skull has also been taken. This is definitely the path they took. Tai Daoku's spirits was raised. Lead the way. Bai clan leader immediately moved. After a short period, a group of people hurriedly arrived at a hall. How can there be 2 secret tunnels? An elder was surprised. Which path did those 2 demonic path thieves take? Regardless, we will just go in 2 groups. Once we reach them, we must protect the young masters no matter what. The flight of stairs that led to Flesh Sack secret chamber stood out and attracted the attention of Bai clan leader, Tai Daoku and most of the elders. Flesh Sack secret chamber. After a while, the group reached the end of the stairs. Boom, the door was smashed to smithereens, and the group flocked inside. However, there was not a soul in the secret chamber. Hee 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 ha 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 hee hee hee. The countless mouths on the wall produced all kinds of laughing sounds. What nonsense is this? Laughter meat GU, especially used to store treasures. These mouths are like drawers. This mouth is opened quite wide, they might have gone through here. Bai clan leader glanced around before finally, her chilly gaze stared at the only secret tunnel in this chamber. You and you will remain behind, rest of you will follow me. A while ago, in the same secret chamber, Bai Sheng had just regained his consciousness when he felt a sharp pain in his stomach. If you don't want to die, stand up. Shortly, he heard a ruthless voice. Towards this voice, Bai Sheng had the deepest impression of it. It was precisely the owner of this voice who had cheated a whole clan and kidnapped him. Even the identity of GUU clan's young master might be a scam. Scammer, hoodlum, demon. Despite cursing in his heart, Bai Sheng still obediently crawled up. He only then found that he was in an extremely strange place. The flesh walls around him were filled with mouths and were producing cacophony of laughters which was reverberating in his ears. Flesh laughter GU, he blurted out as he recalled the records in the books. Little guy, you are young but are quite knowledgeable. Fang Yuan smiled. According to the rumors in his previous life, he heard this Bai clan brother and sister were innately intelligent, especially the big brother Bai Sheng who had high wisdom even at young age with a memory ability that was close to photographic memory. Right now, he was able to recognize the flesh laughter GU, it seemed the rumors were not baseless. You too. Bai Sheng gritted his teeth and stared at Fang Yuan and Bai Ningbing with deep hatred. Big brother. Bai Hua had also been kicked awake by Fang Yuan, she ran to Bai Sheng's side while sobbing. Bai Sheng promptly protected his sister behind him. What a great sibling relationship. Bai Ningbing chuckled. You malevolent woman, you grew up so beautiful, but your heart is as poisonous as a scorpion. Bai Sheng fearlessly scolded. The smile on Bai Ningbing's face immediately disappeared. Bai Sheng's words deeply stabbed her. Woman, beautiful, she didn't want to hear these words even a little bit. Slap, slap, slap. She walked forward and grabbed Bai Sheng before slapping him thrice. She possessed the strength of a crocodile, and although she restrained majority of her strength, after she finished with her slaps, Bai Sheng's 2 cheeks turned red and swollen. Venomous woman, evil woman, kill me if you have guts. However, Bai Sheng still continued to curse. Slap, slap, slap. Bai Ningbing gave him another 3 slaps. Sob sob, let my big brother go, please release my big brother. Bai Hua grasped Bai Ningbing's leg and implored, crying. Sister, don't beg her. Bai Sheng spoke with difficulty. Fang Yuan sighed, he then walked forward and grabbed Bai Hua's collar. The little girl cried out in panic when she was lifted by Fang Yuan. Bai Sheng could not longer act unyielding as he anxiously shouted, evil thief, let go of my sister. Fang Yuan extended another hand and tightly pinched Bai Hua's cheek, before saying in an unhurried tone, so noisy, if you make any more noise, do you believe that I will cut off both of your tongues? Yes, how about I start by cutting off this little girl's tongue first? A slight smile raised the corners of his lips, cold light flashed in his eyes as he released his killing intent. Bai Hua was so scared she didn't dare to weep anymore, tears floated in her eyes. Bai Sheng wanted to open his mouth to talk back, but his heart immediately palpitated with a glance from Fang Yuan, and he shut his mouth. This is good. Obediently cooperate with me and maybe I will let you live. Fang Yuan was still smiling. Bai Ningbing's mouth twitched. However, Fang Yuan immediately added on, I am saying the truth. I don't dare to make an enemy of your mother, capturing you was also to ensure our safety. If you obey us, we will let you go. Of course, if you don't cooperate, haha, I don't mind cutting off your tongues or few of your fingers to play with. Then what do you want us to do? Bai Sheng took a deep breath. He wasn't afraid of the cold Bai Ningbing, but was afraid of the smiling Fang Yuan. Do you see these mouths in the walls? Fang Yuan's smile turned even bigger. He explained the details and let these brother and sister go about knocking the teeth. Barely a moment had passed when Bai Hua cried out in fear. In front of her, a mouth opened up, its scarlet tongue extended and revealed a quail egg-sized bone ball. The ball was covered with black and white stripes, making Fang Yuan associate with an animal from Earth, zebra. Fang Yuan quickly walked over and took this Gu, his countenance changing in pleasant surprise. If he wasn't wrong, this was a movement-type Gu, footless bird. This Gu could only be used once, but its body was big and it could fly thousands of miles. This really was like receiving a pillow when one was sleepy. Fang Yuan had just been worried about how to escape, and to think Bai Hua would present him with a footless bird. However, this pleasant surprise was just the beginning. After a while, Bai Sheng also achieved success. He knocked and opened a mouth, a bone was revealed on its tongue. The two ends of this bone was smooth and round, the middle part was long and slender, and there was a greenish glow to the bone like a green jade stone. Jade bone Gu. Fang Yuan held it, before immediately refining and putting it into his aperture. This time, it was Bai Ningbing's turn to be envious. Jade bone Gu could remodel the Gu master's skeleton into that of a jade-like quality, making the bones harder and more supple. This effect was permanent like black and white boar Gu or the crocodile strength Gu. Even more important thing was jade bone Gu could be matched with ice muscle Gu to produce excellent effect. Bai Ningbing already had ice muscle, if she also possessed jade bones, she would have ice muscles and jade bones, the two effects would mutually complement each other producing a much better result. However, this jade bone Gu was a one-time use expendable Gu. It also had a shortcoming, the Gu master would suffer from extremely intense pain when using it. A lot of Gu masters with weak willpower have died from the pain of using the jade bone Gu. Do you want it? You can exchange it with meat bone Gu. Fang Yuan smiled. Bai Ningbing coldly snorted and turned around without replying, increasing her efforts in knocking the teeth. But this action was purely relying on one's luck. There were 10 pairs of teeth in a mouth, and one needed to at least knock 5 teeth in correct order for the teeth to fall off. Bai Ningbing hadn't succeeded apart from his first try. As for Fang Yuan, he was even more miserable. However, after some time, Bai Hua and Bai Sheng again gave pleasant surprises. Bai Hua knocked down another set of teeth, providing Fang Yuan with an iron bone Gu. And the mouth Bai Sheng knocked, gradually opened wide, changing into a new secret tunnel. Such luck of the brother and sister made Bai Ningbing inwardly gasp in surprise. She didn't know this pair of brother and sister was the true fated owner of this inheritance. Fate was a type of otherworldly, magical, mystical strength, especially in this world. There were some rare Gu worms that contained the fragments of the law of fate, giving some lucky Gu masters a grasp of some powers of the fate. Since the new secret tunnel had appeared, Fang Yuan didn't think of staying any longer. Bai clan Gu masters could arrive at any time, and the remaining Gu worms were in the mouths which were locked firmly and were very difficult to destroy. They could only be left behind for them. Fang Yuan again knocked Bai Sheng and Bai Hua unconscious, carrying them in each of his hands as he followed behind Bai Ningbing into the giant mouth. The two came upon a hall as they walked through this secret tunnel. This was the widest bone hall they had come across. Just from the area alone, it was over 2 square kilometers. In the center of the hall was a bone pyramid, the peak was flattened into a platform with 2 flights of stairs leading to it. Fang Yuan and Bai Ningbing looked at each other, there were nothing else other than this bone pyramid. After checking their surroundings and noticing no dangers, the two walked to the platform on the peak of the pyramid. There was a sculpture of a skull of a giant ferocious beast on the platform. It was taller than half a man and looked like a lion or a tiger, with tightly closed fangs. Chapter 226. Chapter 226. Bone-flesh unity. Looks like the sculpture of either a lion or a tiger skull. Isn't this the rumored mechanism which needs two people to cooperate? A thought flashed in Fang Yuan's mind. There are words carved in this sculpture's fangs. Bai Ningbing made a new discovery. She then began to read the carvings in a low voice. Gemini with one mind, three spirits unite. Fated or not, do not be forceful. What does this mean? This is the code to opening the mechanism in this place. Gemini means two people should work together to open the mechanism. Three souls indicate a person's mind, palm and eye. Fang Yuan recalled from his memories. Among the four limbs of a human, palm was most nimble. Among the five organs, the quickest was the eyes, and human's mind could think as fast as a lightning spark. Hence, they were called three spirits. Come, put your palm on the pupils of the sculpture. There was a translucent, pure red gem in the eyes of the skull sculpture. The red stone was as big as large porcelain bowls and it clearly reflected the figures of Fang Yuan and Bai Ningbing. However, there was no change at all even after putting their palms on the red gem pupils for a long time. Haha, your words make sense, but it turned out to be wrong. Bai Ningbing didn't let go of any chance to snide at Fang Yuan. Fang Yuan's expression turned dark. Bai Hua had recounted and described about this mechanism according to his previous life's memories. Logically, this should be the correct procedure, but why was there no change? One-minded Gemini, three souls united, Fang Yuan muttered. Three souls united has been achieved, but one mind, a bright light slowly appeared in his eyes as he continued his thoughts. Is it saying the two people to open this mechanism must be of one mind and one heart? If it is so, even if he and Bai Ningbing were working together, they were only forced by the situation and were actually divided in hearts, with each having their own plans. No wonder, they couldn't achieve the one mind. When he thought of this, Fang Yuan couldn't help looking at Bai Sheng and Bai Hua again. As a result, this pair of brother and sister was again kicked awake by Fang Yuan. Evil thieves, what do you want? Bai Sheng angrily shouted after having woken. Bai Hua, however, didn't cry anymore. Her two big eyes were closely gazing at Fang and Bai with deep hatred. Fang Yuan couldn't be bothered to explain to them. He directly grabbed the palms of the two and placed them separately on the pair of red gem pupils. They were truly the inheritors decided by the fate. The moment these two small hands touched the red gem, it let out a bright light. Crack, crack, the skull slowly opened its mouth and revealed a large pile of coal stones and dry woods. In the center of the black coal stones was a simple-looking pottery container and a scroll light on it. What is this? Fang Yuan casually threw the twins onto the ground, then picked up and read the scroll before coming to an understanding. It turns out the owner of this inheritance, Grey Bone Scholar, didn't have a high aptitude, thus he was distressed about his cultivation throughout his life. All his life, he put all his efforts into researching a type of GU that could help a GU master to quickly cultivate. There were already plenty of cultivation-assisting GU worms, the most typical being the liquor worm. However, these GU worms were mostly very rare and would be very difficult to popularize. Grey Bone Scholar's aspiration was big. He wanted to research and refine an excellent GU worm that could be widely used. However, even when his lifespan was at its end, even after countless failures, he wasn't able to achieve success. At the final juncture of his life, maybe heaven took pity on him. When he was setting up the White Bone Mountain inheritance, he suddenly had an extremely ingenious enlightenment. What was the main method to quickly raise a GU master's cultivation without the help of the specific GU worms? It was to let an elder impart his primeval essence. Previously at Qingmao Mountain, Gu Kai Cheng had received such help, receiving the refined primeval essence from his grandfather Gu Kai Lian. However, this move had a big disadvantage. It was the mixture of different primeval essence. Relying on an elder's higher-ranked primeval essence to wash and refine the aperture walls would leave behind his aura in the aperture, causing a GU master's future development to be greatly restricted. Unless one used cleansing water GU to cleanse the mixed aura. However, cleansing water GU was also a rare GU and ordinary GU masters would find it difficult to obtain it. Even elder-level characters would have to rely on luck or pay a tremendous price. Thus, imparting method also couldn't be widespread. Hence, Grey Bone Scholar thought of a wonderful concept. If there was a GU which could refine others' primeval essence into the GU master's primeval essence, wouldn't that mean there would be no mixed aura after imparting? He began making series of attempts and after removing most of the possibilities, he made a plan which had the highest probability of success. The name of this experiment was Bone-Flesh Unity GU. This was what was written in the scroll. To refine this GU, two GU masters must work together. And these two GU masters must have blood relation, parents and children are twins. Relying on the connection of the blood lineage could one transform the primeval essence. However, Grey-Boned Scholar didn't have enough time to put this concept into practice. After having made most of the preparations, he could only helplessly stop at the final juncture. Although he had 2 nicknames, he, however, was only one person. What he lacked were 2 GU masters who fulfilled the criterias. The final content on the scroll clearly revealed Grey-Boned Scholar's endless regret. He did not have enough time to redo the preparations, and could only leave behind this blueprint. If someone fated was to arrive to this point and could open the mechanism and see this scroll, that would mean the GU masters who met the conditions had appeared. There is no harm in trying it, no matter what the result, please convey it to my gravestone. These words in the scroll contained a lifetime of obsession of Grey-Boned Scholar. It turned out this pyramid Fang Yuan was stepping on was the tomb of Grey-Boned Scholar. There was no need to try though, Fang Yuan already knew the idea of bone-flesh unity GU was a success. Because in his previous life, Bai Sheng and Bai Hua, relying on this dual cultivation, had become the twin stars of righteous path, pushing the might of Bai clan towards the peak with their rank 5 cultivation. However, it was quite troublesome for Fang Yuan now. He had originally thought bone-flesh unity GU was a finished product. But in fact, it had still not been refined into existence yet and couldn't even be considered half-finished. Moreover, he and Bai Ningbing didn't fulfill the conditions to refine this bone-flesh unity GU. Unless, Gu Fang Zheng had been here. Even then, refining this bone-flesh unity GU might not end up good. According to the description on the scroll, bone-flesh unity GU was a series of GU and didn't refer to just one type of GU. And the deeper the feelings between the 2 GU masters refining this GU, the better the quality of the refined bone-flesh unity GU. Looking at the relation between Fang Yuan and Fang Zheng, the refined bone-flesh unity GU would absolutely not be perfect. In Fang Yuan's previous life, this bone-flesh unity GU had of course been refined by Bai Sheng and Bai Hua. However, the time was now many years in advance, although the 2 had deep feelings, but they were yet to become GU masters and thus couldn't fulfill the criteria. Bone-flesh unity GU was the most important target of Fang Yuan in this inheritance. The materials in the forge were already well prepared by Grey-Boned Scholar, the only thing lacking was the final step, refinement. Give up. Fang Yuan, of course, wasn't willing to. Then again, to refine it, let's not speak of the refinement conditions not being met, there was still a group of powerful experts chasing them. Time was pressing, Fang Yuan gritted his teeth and decided to take the risk. He and Bai Ningbing only met half the criteria, but Bai Sheng and Bai Hua, however, met the other half. Maybe there was a hope for success if the 4 worked together. Come, help out. Fang Yuan began to ignite the dry woods in the skull sculpture. The fire instantly soared and burned furiously. You plan to forcibly refine it? Bai Ningbing was shocked, this can't be a sensible option. Although she said so, she still made her move and put her palm on the red gem pupil, pouring her primeval essence into it. The blazing fire suddenly changed color, from orange to eerie blue. The pottery container was roasted by the fire, the several hibernating GU worms woke up from the heat and began to crazily struggle. The pottery container shook constantly, but there was no damage to it. The refining steps wasn't complicated, Fang Yuan and Bai Ningbing alternatively poured their primeval essence. Soon, they reached the final critical juncture. This step needed fresh flesh from the 2 GU masters, which would be thrown into the fire to be purified. The scroll clearly stated that the more flesh was thrown into the fire, the better the effects would be. Fortunately, we have flesh bone GU, cutting off few pieces of flesh wouldn't be any problem. Bai Ningbing was just about to take action when she was stopped by Fang Yuan. Slow down, I have a better idea. Bai Ningbing followed Fang Yuan's line of sight to Bai Sheng and Bai Hua, the twins. You actually want to tamper with the modify at this juncture. A disturbed gaze flashed in Bai Ningbing's eyes as she realized Fang Yuan's intention. What do you want? Bai Sheng protected his sister behind him, as all of a sudden, he felt a calamity looming over them, causing him to feel anxious and panicky. Being meat or fish on another's chopping board, when Fang and Bai were refining the GU worms, they knew they couldn't run away, thus they had been obediently staying to the side, waiting for their clansmen to come to rescue. However now, Bai Sheng felt tremendous regret. You should feel honored that your sacrifices will bring into existence an entirely new type of GU worm. Even Senior Greybone would feel happy if he knew in the netherworld, right? Fang Yuan gave an evil grin as he pressed on towards the pair of brother and sister. Sister, run away. Bai Sheng shouted before charging towards Fang Yuan and grasping his leg. Big brother. Tears spilled out from Bai Hua's eyes, and just when she was hesitating, Fang Yuan had already knocked Bai Sheng unconscious. Seeing Fang Yuan coming closer to her, an enormous fear was spreading at the little girl's heart. She turned around and ran, but how could she be faster than Fang Yuan? She was quickly caught by Fang Yuan, her heart sank down and she futilely struggled and wailed, "Mother, where are you?" Fang Yuan's expression was indifferent as he knocked her unconscious too. It was all done efficiently. He removed all the clothes from this pair of brother and sister, then carrying one on each hand, he threw them into the fire. The moment they were thrown into the fire, they immediately woke up due to the heat. Severe pain attacked them as they tried to madly flee. The two jumped out from the fire with their limbs crazily moving about as they desperately struggled. Fang Yuan coldly snorted, before kicking them back into the fire. The scroll stated that it required fresh flesh, thus Fang Yuan didn't want to kick them to death. As such, after he kicked them, they again ran out before he kicked them back in again. This continued over and over, until Bai Sheng and Bai Hua were finally burned to death. Their bodies resembled candles as they slowly melted, the fire turned from eerie blue to scarlet blood color. However, the fire transformation slowed down and didn't change to reddish purple. The scroll had stated, the color of the fire had to change into reddish purple for this step to be considered a success. What to do? Bai Ningbing's brows were furrowed. The GU masters would also receive backlash if the GU refinement failed. Fang Yuan's mind worked at turbo speed. Bai Sheng and Bai Hua were the fated inheritors, why did it fail? It seems because there was a discrepancy because they were not GU masters. If so, we need to try again. Fang Yuan didn't hesitate as he activated two-seed flower to spit out a sharp blade. He stretched his forearm and slashed, blood started flowing rapidly and he threw his own flesh into the fire which was now blazing higher than a man's height. Your turn. After doing this, he threw the sharp blade to Bai Ningbing. You sure it will work? Bai Ningbing hesitated for a while before she similarly used the blade to slash at her forearm. However, because of her ice muscles, the blade seemed to be cutting into ice. With no other choice, Bai Ningbing called out Chainsaw Golden Centipede and sawed a piece of flesh. When her flesh landed into the fire immediately turned reddish purple. Good, success or failure depends on this. We need to pour our primeval essence together. Fang Yuan was overjoyed at this scene. The two poured their primeval essence into the red gem pupils at the same time. The mechanism started slowly closing up, like a bone beast swallowing the blazing flames. Two rows of fangs came together and the jaws closed securely. The flame continued burning from inside, roasting the skull into a shade of scarlet. Bang! The pottery container seemed to have exploded. The whole skull shook. Only after hearing this sound, Fang and Bai let go of their hands. Fang Yuan closely stared at the movement while extending his hand towards Bai Ningbing. He didn't say anything, but Bai Ningbing already knew what Fang Yuan wanted. She snorted, but thinking about the situation, she had no choice other than to give the flesh bone GU to Fang Yuan. She didn't have the ability to instantly refine GU worms, but Fang Yuan could. Flesh bone GU didn't resist even a bit under the aura of spring autumn cicada and was instantly refined. However, although Fang Yuan refined it, he couldn't use it due to his low cultivation. Thus, he again handed it to Bai Ningbing. Bai Ningbing received it and immediately activated it. An orange glow covered the wound on her forearm and almost instantly, skin and flesh grew out and her injury was completely healed. However, Bai Ningbing's rank 3 peak stage primeval essence was also instantly down by 20%. The disadvantage of flesh bone GU was it required instant consumption of a great amount of primeval essence. If it were Fang Yuan's green copper primeval essence, he wouldn't be able to activate it even if his primeval sea completely dried up. Following, Bai Ningbing healed Fang Yuan. Fang Yuan's face was pale, he didn't have ice muscles to stop his bleeding in a short period, thus he had lost a lot of blood. The injuries on their forearms had healed, but the pain was still as intense as before and their hearts trembled from the pain, even feeling dizzy. But the two had iron willpower. Despite such pain, their expressions didn't change as they forcibly withstood the intense pain. In a flash, the skull slowly opened up, the fire had already disappeared. There were neither any traces of the pottery container nor the corpses of Bai Sheng and Bai Hua left. Two GU worms appeared in Fang Yuan's sight. One was green and another red, they were tied together like two jade bracelets, and quietly let out warm luster as they hovered in the air. This is the bone-flesh unity GU. Without taking the time to carefully investigate, Fang Yuan took it and instantly refined it, storing it into his aperture. Let's go. He flew down the platform and rushed into the new secret tunnel that had appeared at the end of the hall. Only a short moment after, Bi-Clan GU masters arrived at this hall. Someone refined a GU here. The remaining aura in the air made the elders' expressions change. Look, there are clothes of the two young masters. Soon, they found children's clothing that had been torn by Fang Yuan on the high platform. Seeing this, an intensely bad feeling struck Bi-Clan leader's heart, almost causing her to black out. She didn't dare to even make the connection. Chase them, they can't have gone far, my children are definitely with them. Bi-Clan leader shouted, her two eyes had become bloodshot. Chapter 227. Chapter 227, Footless bird, spread your wings and fly. Sprinting, the secret tunnel seemed to continue on forever. But any long journey eventually came to an end. After the first glimmer of light, Fang and Bai's vision gradually expanded. The exit, Bai Ningbing shouted. According to the info from my previous life, this secret tunnel should lead to a cliff on Baijiu Mountain. Fang Yuan did not speak, his thoughts rumbled in his mind. He should thank the two dead siblings, Bai Sheng and Bai Hua. Their information attracted Fang Yuan here. And because of their sacrifice, Fang Yuan managed to obtain the coveted flesh-bone unity GU. Suddenly, footsteps could be heard from behind. We've finally caught up. We found those two bastards. Where are you going? Bi-Clan GU masters rushed up imposingly, seething with killing intent. Bi-Clan leader was ahead of them all, with the elders behind her. The narrow tunnel turned the Bi-Clan group into a long queue. Blitz GU. Suddenly, a clan elder accelerated, his body moving like a cannon, catching up to Fang Yuan. Bai Ningbing. Fang Yuan shouted. Bai Ningbing gritted her teeth, swinging her hand behind her. Blood Moon GU. With a crisp sound, a blood blade flew out, hitting the elder and slowing his movement. But immediately, all kinds of lights exploded in the tunnel as large numbers of attacks came towards Fang and Bai. Bai Ningbing, take this. Fang Yuan shouted, lending the canopy GU to her again. Bai Ningbing activated the canopy GU, Iron Spike Thorns GU, as well as the defense of the ice muscles, all three together to resist the attacks. Bai Clan, don't you want to know the location of your two young masters? Fang Yuan shouted loudly. As the Bai Clan GU masters remembered Bai Sheng and Bai Hua were in Fang and Bai's hands, they stopped their attacks. Speak, what did you do to our clan's young masters? If anything happens to them, you will pay dearly. Return my children. Bai Clan leader flew into a rage, she pointed forward with her finger and a cold light shot out. Frostfish GU. This GU was only the size of a dart and looked like a fish. It drew an arc in the air as it shot forward, homing down towards Fang and Bai. Fang Yuan snorted, he didn't dodge and just let the frostfish GU hit him. Suddenly cold air enveloped his body, and his speed drastically fell. Stealth Scales GU. With a thought, there were ripples undulating around his body and making him invisible. Don't think so. A clan elder suddenly stretched out his right hand and grabbed towards Fang Yuan. Swoosh. With a soft sound, the Stealth Scales GU that was hiding in Fang Yuan's aperture suddenly broke into pieces and perished. Fang Yuan's heart sank, activating the jumping grass immediately. There was a numbing sensation on his feet as green grass that looked like springs grew out of his flesh and skin. Fang Yuan used the elasticity of the green grass, and jumped forward, his speed increasing drastically. I'll take my leave first, remember to jump. He left behind this weird sentence. What? Bai Ningbing was confused, but then heard the wind blowing behind her. Her heart jumped when she turned around to look. It was the Bai Clan leader, her eyes dyed red, looking like an agitated lioness. Her furious aura made even Bai Ningbing's heart shudder. After all, she was a rank 4 GU master. Bang! Bai Clan leader punched directly, the huge force shattered the canopy Gu's white armor immediately. Bai Ningbing threw up a mouthful of blood, as she summoned the chainsaw golden centipede. The chainsaw golden centipede turned into a golden light and coiled around the Bai Clan leader. Using this opportunity, Bai Ningbing sprinted and arrived at the exit. It was a cliff. At this moment, Bai Ningbing suddenly understood what Fang Yuan meant, he wanted her to jump off a cliff. You cannot escape, Bai Clan leader shouted from behind. As for the chainsaw golden centipede, it had been torn to pieces using brute strength. Bai Ningbing was struggling. At this height, it was a guaranteed death if she jumped down. But in this circumstance, she had no other choice. She gritted her teeth and jumped. She really jumped. She's dead meat, some Bai Clan GU masters exclaimed, stopping before the cliff. Bai Clan leader looked down and saw Bai Ningbing rapidly falling down. Her veins popped on her forehead as she growled. I want to see them if they are alive, and their corpses if they are dead. I will definitely catch them. Wind roared in Bai Ningbing's ears as she continued to fall. She had never thought there would be a day where she would be forced to jump off a cliff. I'm going to die like this. Although this is exhilarating, I am not satisfied. As death approached, Bai Ningbing's heart was in turmoil. I have not obtained the Yongji, what a tragedy to die as a female. But once I reach the ground, I will definitely be a pile of smashed meat and no one will be able to tell my gender anyway. Bai Ningbing was not sure why she was having such a strange thought right before death. At this time, the turbulence around her increased, as she heard a voice, Bai Ningbing. Bai Ningbing turned around. How could it be anyone else but Fang Yuan? At this time, Fang Yuan was descending as well, but he was stepping on a white bone bird below his feet. Footless bird. This bird had no flesh or blood, its body made of bones. It had an eagle's head, crane's body, swallow's tail and 2 pairs of wings, but no legs. Fang Yuan's body was covered in blood and filth. It was evident that he had sustained many injuries back in the secret tunnel earlier. Grab my hand. He squatted on the bird's back, reaching out his hand. Clap. With a clap, 2 hands grasped each other tightly. Fang Yuan exerted more strength and pulled Bai Ningbing onto the back of the bird. However, at this time, there was a rock less than 300 meters below them, as the footless bird descended towards the rock like a shooting star. Careful, we're gonna crash. Bai Ningbing shouted, her heart almost jumping out of her body. The mountain rock increased in size rapidly in her vision. Fang Yuan's eyes shone with brilliance, shouting ferociously, how can my demonic path falter in this tiny little Baiju mountain? Rise for me. Rise, rise, rise. His shout echoed in the valley. Under his manipulation, the footless bird flapped its wings furiously, using all its strength to slow the descent. Cracks started appearing on its 4 bone wings. Fang Yuan's primeval essence in his aperture reduced rapidly, but with the heavenly essence treasure lotus sending out large amounts of primeval essence, Fang Yuan's primeval sea rose and lowered continuously. A group of bone beasts relaxing near the mountain rocks felt the commotion and raised their heads before immediately sprinting in a run. A gray-back ostrich was so scared it dug its sharp head into the white bone mountain rocks, raising its butt high in the sky. Ostriches were like this. When they were scared, they liked to feel false assurance. Moments away from crashing, Bai Ningbing forgot to breathe and Fang Yuan looked on with furious eyes. Under the intense wind pressure, the white bone trees on this mountain rock collapsed. But eventually, the footless bird flew past the ostrich's butt, soaring into the sky at a steep angle. The ostrich's butt wing was shaved till nothing was left, revealing its round empty butt. Ha ha ha, Bai Ningbing started laughing wildly on the bird's back. Having barely survived and relieving the pressure of death, she felt her heart gradually sinking back into place. Exciting, truly exciting, the excitement of life and death was always the most breathtaking. Wasn't such life what she desired and pursued? Footless bird, fly to the blue sky. She was almost on the verge on singing in excitement. Clan leader, they're alive. At the cliff, Bai Clan's GU masters said with dark expressions. We can't catch up, that is the footless bird, able to fly 10,000 miles in a day. Tai Daoku sighed helplessly. Flying GU worms were rare, and those who could match the footless bird's speed were little to none. Under rank 5, the footless bird was the #1 flying steed. Alas, the heavens are blind. How can such evildoers be allowed to live? Some elderly shouted in anger, pounding on their chests. Bai clan leader's eyes were bloodshot. She gritted her teeth while clenching her fists so tightly that her bones seemed about to burst out. Hearing Bai Ningbing's laughter, she even had the urge to jump down the cliff to pursue them. It was not that Bai clan did not have a flying GU, some GU masters had already displayed their abilities, chasing after Fang and Bai. But looking at their speed, even an idiot would know that it would be impossible for them to catch up to these two. An intense bitterness filled the Bai clan GU masters' hearts. They could only watch helplessly even when the criminal was fleeing before their very eyes. No, we definitely cannot let them escape. We cannot, a GU master shouted in fury, his body suddenly started burning with intense flames. Bai Zhanwen, Bai clan leader's expression changed. Lord clan elder, everyone was stunned. Grandpa, Bai Zhanlai was full of tears. Clan leader, everyone, we cannot let these two scoundrels escape, or where will our Bai clan's dignity lie? The revenge for our two young masters is of utmost importance. After I am gone, please take care of my grandson, this lad's temperament is as tough as mine, he started losing his voice at the end. His entire flesh, skin and bones turned into fire, and his voice naturally disappeared along with them. Even his pupils transformed into a dark purple color. He had turned into a human-shaped fire. Fire burned and raised the surrounding temperature, and everyone started retreating back while a sad song seemed to sound in the mountain. Human Torch GU, a rank 4 GU, which once used, immolated the entire body, turning it into fire until his life force was depleted. This Bai Zhan elder chose to sacrifice his life to gain this immense power. Good, our clan shall stand here and witness elder's contribution. Bai clan leader was moved. But Bai Zhan could no longer hear them. As his life burned, he felt an unprecedented power flowing in his body, completely free and unbound. The purple-black pupil gazed at the surrounding people and looked at his grandson one last time, before flying into the sky. The Human Torch rapidly approached the footless bird. Good, everyone shouted in excitement. Bai clan leader's steel-like cold expression showed some agitation too. A strong foe, Bai Ningbing's expression was grim. She lacked experience in aerial combat, she might fall and be smashed to bits if she was careless. Howl, the Human Torch growled, intense killing intent flickering in his dark purple pupils. Sparks flashed as the Human Torch's speed increased again, pouncing towards Fang Yuan like lightning. Hold on tight. Fang Yuan was concentrating the entire time in maneuvering the footless bird. Footless bird raised its speed and pulled away, causing the Human Torch to pounce on empty air. Waves of sighing and pity could be heard from the cliff. But quickly, the Human Torch pounced up again. Footless bird swerved again and narrowly dodged. Bai Ningbing was almost thrown off and quickly grabbed into a bone that was jutting out. Howl, the Human Torch came attacking again. Fang Yuan laughed coldly, the footless bird suddenly contracted its wings, dropping to the ground. The Human Torch followed closely, its speed surpassed the footless bird and was getting closer. Footless bird suddenly spread its 4 wings, stopping its downfall and flying in the reverse direction. Boom! The Human Torch's flying was completely dependent on the propulsion of the flames. He had no wings to help him quickly change his direction, and came crashing down onto the mountain rocks. At once, over 6 kilometers square of land burst into flames, killing all bone beasts and large numbers of bone trees in its range. In the sea of fire, a lump of fire gathered into a human shape again, flying away, and chasing Fang and Bai relentlessly. However, the use of GU worms also depended on their users. In GU Master's cultivation aspects of nurture, use and refine, use was 1. Not anyone could simply take out a GU and display its full ability. The methods and techniques involved were very profound. Human Torch GU was a suicidal technique and naturally it would be Bai Zhan's first time using it. But Fang Yuan, although this was his first time riding the footless bird in this life, he had used an uncountable number of flying GU worms in his previous life. His experience was many times of Bai Zhan, almost to the point of being an instinct ingrained upon his soul. At the cliff, Bai clan members were observing the battle situation. Their expressions slowly changed from hopeful and anticipation to anger. Anyone could tell now that the footless bird was playing around with Elder Bai Zhan. The Human Torch's growling, which originally sounded so awe-inspiring and full of authority, now sounded like he was helplessly venting in a sorrowful state. Damn it! Someone clenched his fist in frustration. How can this happen? Tai Daoku was also stunned by Fang Yuan's skill, sighing as he knew there was nothing he could do anymore. Fang Zheng, I want you to die. Bai Zhan shouted, the seed of hatred sowing deep in his heart. Elder Bai Zhan's sacrifice was becoming a joke, being toyed around by Fang Yuan. It was an ironic slap across Bai clan's face. Gradually, everyone's anger turned into disappointment and despair. We can't catch them anymore. Can we do nothing other than to look at this? Gu Fang Zheng, many people spoke this name, gritting their teeth. Footless bird flew casually in the air, dodging the Human Torch yet again and again. Young man, your bird maneuvering techniques are superb, ha ha ha. Bai Ningbing laughed heartily, letting her guard down. Fang Yuan's expression froze. Careful. Boom. An intense explosion occurred. Bai Zhan knew he could not catch up to Fang and Bai, thus he chose to self-detonate. The explosion and flames engulfed the footless bird. Thankfully, the footless bird was made of white bones, even its wings were like pieces of thin bone pieces. The fire didn't cause much damage, the true danger was the impact caused by the explosion. Footless bird's body was full of cracks, and it lost its balance, plummeting to the ground. After descending for a distance, under Fang Yuan's manipulation, it regained its balance, and flew far away. Fang Yuan, Bai Ningbing screamed. Earlier, Fang Yuan lent her the canopy GU, she had the GU worm to protect her, but Fang Yuan did not. When the explosion occurred, Fang Yuan had no time to activate a defensive GU. When the footless bird rushed out of the flame, Fang Yuan's body was burning in the fire. The intense winds caused the fire to burn even more greatly, even the earth-hearing eargrass in his right ear was burnt. But his expression was cold like steel, like he was not suffering any injuries at all. After footless bird regained its stability, Fang Yuan took out 2 seed of flour and poured the milk spring over his head. The fire was extinguished, but his skin was mostly burnt and his face disfigured. He looked extremely tragic. Bai Ningbing tried to speak, but could not say anything. Fang Yuan, however, smirked and laughed. I like the footless bird, do you know why? He smiled, but the sight was horrifying. Why? Because it has no legs, only wings, thus it has no choice but to fly. When it lands, that signifies its destruction. Betting it all in one chance, fly or die. Bai Ningbing's blue pupils dilated, shining with brilliance. The winds blew on her face, causing her silver hair to flutter. Bai Ningbing's lips also curled up. He, then let us fly up into the sky. Footless bird flew into the sky, becoming a dot in the horizon before eventually vanishing. On the cliff, Bai clan members watched until their eyes seemed to penetrate the sky, but none spoke. An eerie silence engulfed everyone. The world was so vast. The eerie blue sky, the snow-like white Baiju mountain, the sunlight shining down, footless bird, Fang and Bai's silhouettes, this scene was deeply engraved into everyone's hearts. Fury grew in their hearts, as hatred germinated in their hearts. Puff! Bai clan leader vomited a mouthful of fresh blood, and fell down on her back, fainting. Clan leader, Lord clan leader, quick, healing GU masters, save the clan leader. Panic ensued on the cliff. Author's note, what is demonic path? A kind of path that has its own ideology and beliefs. Towards what a demonic path is, everyone has their unique understanding towards it, but to me, the footless bird embodied a kind of demonic spirit. Demonic path is cruel, not only to others, but more towards oneself. Thus, it is not well liked by the masses. Chapter 228. Chapter 228. Dark leopard dies for love. The setting sun was dyed like blood as the clouds on the west resembled burning flames. Under the setting sun, the footless bird started slowly dropping down after having flown for the majority of the day. It had made a series of extreme diving and rising actions. While suffering from the explosion of the human torch, its body was filled with cracks and could no longer continue to fly. Bam! Under Fang Yuan's meticulous control, the footless bird finally fell into a forest. Smoke and dust flew everywhere and groups of beasts escaped in a panic. Where is this? Bai Ningbing jumped off from the bird and surveyed her surroundings. The trees were short and thick, but had a lot of lush leaves, unlike the sparse amount in the bone trees of Baiju Mountain. The trees in this forest were like a canopy blocking the sunlight, and the leaves were all purple, light purple, dark purple, reddish purple, violet. The evening wind blew over. If one looked into the distance, all they would see was a sea of purple. A purple forest. We have been moving north all along and according to our course, this should be near Ziyu Mountain. Fang Yuan guessed. His countenance was covered with worry. Ziyu Mountain is safe in daytime, but is extremely dangerous in night. It is getting dark, we need to quickly leave and find a safe place to stay. Okay. Bai Ningbing nodded. After over 2 hours, they found a cave luckily. The cave's original owner had been a pouched bear. This species of bear possessed a natural marsupial pouch on their stomach, just like kangaroo. Dry wood burnt with crackling sounds, the bonfire quietly blazed, the meat stew in the iron pot over the rack was already boiling, giving off a dense aroma. The fat, tender bear paws were already roasted. Besides these, there were also many delicacies, from Bai clan, stored in 2 seed of flour. The two quickly began devouring the food, and their strained mood began to relax. Bai Ningbing suddenly laughed, her dark blue eyes looking at Fang Yuan. Look, this is retribution. You burned that pair of brother and sister to death, and now, you yourself are burned to this state. The light of the fire shone upon Fang Yuan's face, the severe wounds on his face made him look horrifying and ugly. If a timid girl saw his appearance, they would probably scream in fear right then and there. Fang Yuan, however, laughed, not minding the comment. He was even inwardly happy. Fortunately, we have meat bone GU, it won't be difficult to recover your original appearance. You just need to cut off the burned skin and flesh, then we can use the meat bone GU to grow them anew. But, you are only a rank 1 and can't use the meat bone GU. Come, beg me, maybe my kind and magnanimous heart will feel pity for you, and heal you. Bai Ningbing wouldn't let go of any chance to snide at Fang Yuan. Fang Yuan made a motion of raising his eyebrows, despite his eyebrows already being burnt off. Why would I want to heal it? Isn't this situation quite good? He laughed. We killed off the 2 young masters of Bai clan and also played the Bai clan leader and the elder. Do you think they will let us go? This injury saves me the effort to change my appearance. Earth hearing ear grass was destroyed. Fang Yuan's right ear was shattered. The injuries to cartilage in his ear wasn't something the meat bone Jiu could heal. But even if he could heal it, he would rather have 1 year less to change his appearance. In past, there was a demonic figure, Bai Shanzi, who was captured and put into a prison. He feigned becoming mad, smearing his own stool onto his body, even cutting off his 5th limb and became a eunuch. His enemies finally believed he had gone crazy and thus loosened their vigilance, giving him a chance to flee. Later on, he returned to take revenge and massacred the whole family of his enemies, including the old and the young. There was a great figure of the righteous path, Empress Wu Ji. When she was young, her own elder sister had seized her rights to the throne. She could only hide this grievance inside her. Her elder sister was jealous of her beauty and thus, to avoid letting her make things difficult, Empress Wu Ji cut off the bridge of her nose, disfiguring herself, but gained the space to survive and grow. After over 10 years, she overthrew her elder sister's regime and re-established her authority. She then ordered her elder sister's 5 sensory organs to be cut off, making her live in a state where she couldn't choose to live or die. Throughout the history, all the great figures were good at biding their time and not being attached to fleshly appearance. No matter if it were the righteous path or the demonic, regardless of men or women, they were all like this. After Empress Wu Ji took the control, she didn't heal her nose even though she had the healing means, keeping this as a warning to herself. The Wu clan became the top clan of the southern border, suppressing Tai clan, Sheng clan, Fei clan. Its dominance couldn't be challenged. Those who indulged in fleshly appearance were mostly superficial and it would be difficult for them to succeed. Regardless of whether it was this world or earth, both attested to this point. King Yu of Zhou, just for a smile from his beloved concubine Bao Si, lighted the warning beacons to trick the vassal states. What was the outcome? People lost their trust in him and he was killed by the barbarians. Liu Biyu for Dioshan, King Wu for Qixi, Shang Yu the Conqueror took consort Yu when he went on military campaigns. Ha ha ha, what was the outcome of these people? By contrast, Cao Cao was short, Sun Bin was handicapped, Sima Qian was castrated. Everyone loves beauty. However, achievements were not in the least relevant to fleshly beauty, only a temperament which could firmly let go was the foundation to a great success. Actually, it is you who is too dazzling. With your blue eyes and silver hair, you should change it. Fang Yuan said as he looked all over Bai Ningbing. Bai Ningbing coldly snorted and didn't reply. Fang Yuan continued. The footless bird was damaged, but we have only flown over few thousands of miles. Although we are quite far away from Bai clan, they will definitely come to capture us for the things we have done. We are in a dangerous situation. If they spread wanted posters, our days will become even more difficult. Bai Ningbing considered the idea with a frown, before agreeing. All right, I am also tired of this outfit. Changing into a new appearance might be a brilliant experience. Next, the two started to calculate their losses and gains. There were losses: Earth Hearing Ear Grass, Chainsaw Golden Centipede, Carapace GU, Iron Thistles, Stealth Scales GU, Footless Bird, were all destroyed in the pursuit. However, to Fang Yuan, being alive was the most important. Only by being alive could there be possibilities and hope. This was the foundation to everything. To continue living, even if he had to give up Spring Autumn Cicada, so what? In a word, being able to let go was the character of a great man. As for gains, there were large numbers of Bone Spear GU and Spiral Bone Spear GU in Fang Yuan's aperture. They had also obtained rank 3 Flying Bone Shield, Jade Bone GU, Iron Bone GU, the Healing Type Meat Bone GU and several bone books recording all kinds of recipes. Besides these, they had also gained Clearing Heat GU from the Bai clan. Of course, the most significant was still the Bone Flesh Unity GU which they had successfully refined at such a dangerous moment. Compared to the gains, their losses weren't that serious. This was a complete inheritance, after all. The Flower Wine Monk might be a rank 5 expert, a cut above the rank 4 Grey Bone Scholar, but Fang Yuan's gains from the Flower Wine inheritance loses out to this Bai Gu inheritance. The reason was Bai Gu inheritance had been carefully planned out for a long time by Grey Bone Scholar, whereas Flower Wine inheritance was completed in haste and hurry. In fact, Fang Yuan only walked through the main path of the Bai Gu inheritance. There were many other side branches, and moreover, there were many steel teeth locks that weren't knocked open in the flesh sack secret chamber. These things would all serve the Bai clan. They controlled this place, and so long as they spent some time and energy, they could definitely devour the whole inheritance. But it doesn't matter, I have taken all the GU worms in my list. As long as this bone-flesh unity GU displays its effects, it will far surpass the others. It is just that the earth-hearing eargrass has been destroyed, which is a bit troublesome. Fang Yuan's philosophy was only those things that are practical can be valuable. They had lost the chainsaw golden centipede, but the spiral bone spear GU could qualify to replace it. Iron thistles and carapace GU were gone, but they still had canopy GU and flying bone shield. However, with the loss of earth-hearing eargrass, they now had a hole in the investigative aspect. They had lacked in the healing and movement aspects before, but now these two aspects were more or less filled, whereas a gap appeared in the investigative aspect. In life, things often do not go your way. The night time in the Ziyu mountain was much livelier than daytime. Fang Yuan and Bai Ningbing took turns to keep watch, both didn't get proper sleep. Occasionally, roars and sounds of battles of the wild beasts came from outside the cave. Especially at the crack of dawn, an intense battle occurred near the cave, waking up the soundly sleeping Fang Yuan. This was a fight between 2,000 beasts kings. Two-winged black feather python had provoked a dark leopard. The two exchanged killing moves back and forth, their movements were very noisy, and their momentum, astonishing. Dark leopard was a ferocious beast specific to the Ziyu mountain. They had purple spots on their skin, their bodies were powerful and they were extremely fast. They would often leave behind ethereal afterimages when they moved through the forest. Their movements were quiet and their prey usually ended up in their stomachs without even being able to react. Fang and Bai were on the edge, they could even say they were trapped in the cave, unable to escape. As time passed, the dark leopard gradually became outmatched, getting into a corner. This was a pregnant female leopard. Dark leopard always came in male and female pairs. The female leopard had been pregnant, and the male leopard had gone out to hunt. Who would have thought the black-feathered python would attack during this gap? In the end, the female leopard died by black-feathered python's constriction. However, before the black-feathered python could escape, the returning male leopard saw it. Then after another life-and-death battle, the male leopard killed the killer, but it was welcomed by the female leopard's cold corpse. Dawn came. The first rays of light shone upon the dark leopard's beautiful fur. However, the female leopard was no more. The male leopard paced back and forth around the female leopard's side and let out a mournful whimper. They were so near, yet so far, separated by life and death. Why is it not leaving? Bai Ningbing grumbled. Relax, the male and the female dark leopards are of one heart. If one dies, the other will not continue to live alone. Fang Yuan sighed, I will go back to sleep. He returned to the depths of the cave to sleep again while Bai Ningbing remained behind at the cave entrance to keep watch. The male leopard paced back and forth before lying down. It stuck out its tongue and started licking the female leopard's wounds. The wounds on the female leopard had turned pitch black due to the black feather python's poison. The male leopard lived all its life here, it could distinguish this poison with only a sniff. However, it no longer cared now. In the end, its resplendent eyes started dimming and slowly closed. By the time it was noon, it had passed away. It was quietly lying together with the female leopard, their beautiful fur made them look like delicate artworks. Having personally seen this whole course of events, Bai Ningbing couldn't help letting out a deep sigh. Not long after, Fang Yuan woke up and walked out full of vigor. He saw Bai Ningbing resting against the cave wall, staring blankly at the corpses of the two dark leopards. How is the harvest? Fang Yuan asked. Bai Ningbing shrugged and spoke with a waning interest. The GU worms that could fly have all flown away, I don't have any means to capture GU. Besides, didn't you also see last night's battle? Those GU worms died or are injured, the remaining aren't something we need. Haha, if it were not for that, why would someone like you go back to sleep? Fang Yuan laughed. Although they are 2,000 beasts kings, the GU worms on them aren't anything great. But that doesn't necessarily mean there are no harvests, hee. Saying so, Fang Yuan walked towards the dark leopards, corpses. Chapter 229. Chapter 229, Resting and Recovering at the Hamlet. Bai Ningbing couldn't help but become curious when she saw Fang Yuan walking towards the dark leopards' corpses. She saw him squatting down and feeling around the ears of the dark leopards. After a while, Fang Yuan took out two exquisite purple leaves from the male leopard's left ear and the female leopard's right ear. This was breath concealment GU. Rank 3 grass GU, GU masters could use it to conceal their aura and cultivation level. To some degree, it was a camouflage ability. Almost all the dark leopards had a breath concealment GU in the ears. However, the dark leopards moved in pairs and were at least 1,000 beasts king level. They were experts in sneak attacks, and were extremely agile. Capturing them was a very troublesome and dangerous endeavor. Moreover, the dark leopards were specific to Zhu Mountain. Thus, the knowledge of there being breath concealment GU in dark leopards' ears wasn't widely known yet. In Fang Yuan's 150th year in his previous life, there emerged a righteous path figure nicknamed Hunting King, Sun Gone. He was the first to wantonly hunt the dark leopards for their breath concealment GU, and made a fortune by selling them to the market. After him, countless GU masters rushed to Zhu Mountain to make a fortune. Like this, in only few years, the dark leopards were all annihilated. Right now, however, the Zhu Mountain was still a secluded area. In this place, daytime was safe whereas the nighttime was extremely dangerous. There were no clans here, but there was an embryonic form of a clan, a hamlet. Fang Yuan didn't have the earth-hearing ear grass to scout, but fortunately they obtained 2 breath concealment GU. Fang and Bai relied on this GU to avoid many dangers. They were not going to go up the Zhu Mountain. Their current strength was enough to move across the ordinary forests, but not enough to go deep into the famous mountains and great rivers. Even Bai clan would have to pay a great price to explore these areas, let alone the current Fang and Bai. They went around the Zhu Mountain and moved forward, and after 2 days, they discovered a mountain path. It was a man-made path, and was much safer than the forests. Of course, if one's luck was bad, they might come across dangerous situations. Fang and Bai moved along the mountain path, until one evening, they saw a thin curl of smoke. The two glanced at each other before hastening their steps. They saw a hamlet lying in a mountain basin. The hamlet was surrounded by short stone walls, with guards standing on several points. It was evening now and the farmers were returning in groups, walking to the hamlet with hoes and other farm tools on them. However, these were all mortals and were nothing to worry about. Let's go. Fang Yuan walked towards the hamlet. Just like this, Bai Ningbing was somewhat surprised. Their appearance quickly attracted the curiosity and suspicious glances of the villagers. Most of the villages in this world weren't too welcoming to foreigners. The clan villagers were even more so. They would set up tight defense around the whole village, for fear that spies and robbers would infiltrate the village. May I ask the 2 distinguished guests if you are respected Lord GU masters? Before Fang and Bai even reached the entrance, 2 guards who looked alike approached them. Bai Ningbing didn't speak. According to their original agreement, Fang Yuan would take charge of all the communications. Fang Yuan shook his head. Hello brothers, we are both mortals. The 2 guards seemed to heave a sigh of relief when they heard this, their faces clearly loosening up. The younger juvenile guard disdainfully sized up Fang Yuan's body, before speaking with some disgust. I'll say, how could such a ugly person possibly be one of those Lord GU masters who possess divine powers? Fang Yuan's whole body was burned and he had 1 ear less. Such an ugly appearance birthed revulsion in people. Bai Ningbing also changed her normal attire. She cut off her long silver hair short and also dyed it black. Her body that was white as snow due to ice muscles, was now blackened. Only the color of her eyes couldn't be covered, thus she wore a straw hat and covered half her face. As the 2 stood together, they remarkably looked like mortal villagers. Little brother, watch what you say. The senior guard reprimanded the junior guard, then vigilantly looked at Fang and Bai. Where are you from and what are you doing here? We are from a hamlet across the mountain. We were taking a handcart filled with herbs and salted meat, thinking to sell them, but we bumped into a tiger on our way. Whoa, that really scared me to death. We ran crazily all the way and only then could we save ourselves. We don't dare to go back for the moment, so we came to your hamlet and hope to spend the night here. We will immediately leave tomorrow. Fang Yuan spoke off the top of his head. The vigilance in the guard's gaze lessened. Fang Yuan said, Brother, no need to scold your little brother. I got this injuries from a fire. That day, our house was on fire, and while trying to salvage the rice, I was burned to this state. Everyone is suffering nowadays. The senior guard heaved a sigh. You can enter the hamlet, and if you don't find anyone willing to offer you shelter, you need to make do by spending the night in the corner of the walls. After finishing saying the instructions, the guards opened the way. After Fang and Bai entered the hamlet, the senior guard instructed his brother, go tell the village head that 2 outsiders are here. He is an elder, has rich experience, ask him to keep a lookout. Brother, you are too cautious. How could these 2 be GU masters? Besides, why would GU masters try to deceive us mortals? To have fun. If I tell you to go, then just go. Making me run errands again. The young guard grumbled but still left in the end. The scene inside the hamlet was peaceful. The air was filled with the aroma of food. After a day of hard work, families gathered around the dinner table and talked happily. Bai Ningbing involuntarily felt relaxed in such an environment. The reason for her disguise was because they didn't want to leave behind any traces which could make it convenient for the Bai clan to track them. Another reason was because of Fang Yuan's cautious nature. By hiding themselves in an unfamiliar environment, they could react to any abnormalities. It was easy to find a house to take shelter in. Just give the villagers a primeval stone fragment and they would be more than happy to vacate a house. However, doing this would not be in accordance with their current identities. Fang Yuan had a better method. He walked around the hamlet, before stopping in front of a worn-out house. There was only an elderly woman in this household. She had a grandson but he was killed by a wolf when out playing. The old lady was drawing water from a well in front of her house. The action seemed to take a lot out of her. "Auntie, let me help you." Fang Yuan put on a silly grin and eagerly ran towards the old lady. The old lady was shocked when she saw Fang Yuan's appearance. However, Fang Yuan acted passionately with a silly grin on his face, and after quickly pulling up several buckets of water, the old lady's vigilance disappeared. "Young man, you are an outsider." The old lady smiled open her mouth which had a few missing teeth. "Yes, we were hoping to stay over for the night in your house." "Auntie, I can do your work, may we?" Fang Yuan foolishly said. "Okay," the old lady happily agreed. Although the villagers would help each other financially in normal times, she still needed labor force like this. Bai Ningbing watched this scene speechlessly. This Fang Yuan could really act. After fetching the water, it was chopping the firewoods. Fang Yuan also cooked the meal. The old lady repeatedly praised him for his swift and skilled movements. "Auntie, let me help you fetch some more water. We will talk after I fill the water vat." After the dinner, Fang Yuan again went to fetch water on his own accord. The old lady kept on saying no need, but Fang Yuan insisted on doing so. After the water vat was filled, the old lady talked with tears in her eyes. "Young man, you are really such a bitter life like this old lady." Evidently, Fang Yuan had fabricated a miserable tale during the dinner, which left a deep impression on the simple old lady. Lanterns were a luxury to ordinary people, thus the house was dark in the night. The only light came through the window from the moon. The house had two simple and crude beds. Bai Ningbing was lying on the floor but was very satisfied. The exhaustion accumulated from days of walking was now slowly dissipating. Fang Yuan laid cross-legged on the bed, his mind was in his aperture, observing the bone-flesh unity GU. He had not used this pair of GU even once since he got it. After all, he had refined it after tempering the recipe. And with Fang Yuan's cautious nature, he naturally needed to properly study it before using it. Suddenly, Fang Yuan opened his eyes, a bright light flashed past them. "There isn't any problem, bone-flesh unity GU can be used." After saying so, he summoned the pair of jade bracelet-shaped GU. This two jade bracelets, one was green as grass whereas the other was red as blood. They were both tied together and couldn't be separated. Fang Yuan had already refined them before. However, to bring out their magical effects, he needed to give up one of them and let Bai Ningbing refine it. Bai Ningbing was sitting in a cross-legged position as she received the GU, but he wasn't in a hurry to refine it and instead looked at Fang Yuan. "What do you plan on doing next?" Fang Yuan chuckled. "And here I was thinking you wouldn't ask." Despite it being dark, Bai Ningbing could sense Fang Yuan smiling at this moment. She just snorted and didn't speak. Fang Yuan didn't plan to conceal his plans from her. "Our next destination is Shangliang Mountain." Shangliang Mountain, Shang Clan. Bai Ningbing's brows slightly furrowed. Shang Clan was one of the top forces of the southern border, not weaker to Tai Clan and Fei Clan. Only the Wu Clan was above it. Shang Clan was famed for their businesses in southern border, and even the people outside the southern border, as long as they had some experience, knew that the Shang Clan of the southern border was the center for businesses and trading. Shang Clan City was so flourishing that there were opportunities for primeval stones everywhere. When Bai Ningbing still had northern dark ice soul physique, she had looked forward to visiting the Shang Clan City. Now however, she was hesitating. With the crimes we have committed against the Bai clan, we might already be wanted by all the righteous path figures. Wouldn't we just be heading straight into a trap by going to Shang Clan City? Fang Yuan smiled. If there are only two places in the whole southern border that could accept us, that Shang Clan City would definitely be one of them. Shang Clan might be one of the leaders of the righteous paths, but the Shang Clan City is a place with complete freedom, and also a place where most of the demonic path figures dispose of their goods. If not for that, how could Shang clan be the richest clan in the southern border? Even Wu clan is far inferior to them in this aspect. Bai Ningbing pondered for a while when she heard this. The rumor said that you could buy anything in Shang clan city, is this really true? Fang Yuan shook his head. The things in the rumors are all talking of the low-level goods. There are too many things in this world that has a lot of demand but no supply. For example, a certain Yang Jiyu. Ha ha ha. Chapter 230. Chapter 230. Dual cultivation. In the dark room, Bai Ningbing let out an annoyed snort. Fang Yuan changed the subject. At this stage, Shang clan city is the most suitable place for us. There are many stores there from where we can buy the GU worms suitable for us. Although the GU worms we have now are excellent, they don't match with each other. Only with GU worms that can complement each other, can we exhibit stronger fighting prowess and even fight higher ranks. Bai Ningbing was in complete agreement. All excellent GU master would have a set of complementing GU worms. For instance, when Bai Ningbing possessed Northern Dark Ice Soul Physique, the GU worms she had were Ice Blade GU, Icicle GU, Water Shield GU, Blue Bird Ice Coffin GU, Ice Muscles GU, Frost Demon GU. They all belong to Ice and Water series, and easily complemented each other when mutually paired and used. Now however, Fang and Bai only possessed an assortment of GU worms. If they were to complete a set of complementing GU worms, their fighting prowess would at least double. Fortunately, Fang Yuan had stored large numbers of Bone Spear GU and Spiral Bone Spear GU. All these could be sold in Shang clan city. Even if there were none of these GU, Fang Yuan had Heavenly Essence Treasure Lotus and could use it to produce primeval stones. The first objective in going to Shang clan city was to lay low. The second objective was to purchase and exchange GU worms. Fang Yuan's third objective, however, wasn't convenient to tell to Bai Ningbing. This involved rock gambling. At a dark corner of a certain rock gambling site, there was a rock hiding a legendary rainbow-colored GU. The GU worms in Fang Yuan's possession were as high as rank 6 Spring Autumn Cicada, Heavenly Essence Treasure Lotus which was involved with a rank 9 Immortal Venerable, Blood Skull GU which could change one's aptitude and also Bone Flesh Unity GU. Leaving aside the Bone Flesh Unity GU, Blood Skull GU had already lost its worth because there was almost no blood relative left of Fang Yuan now. Heavenly Essence Treasure Lotus might have excellent results, but it didn't have any advancement prospects since Fang Yuan didn't have its fusion recipe. The higher his cultivation becomes, the lesser the help it would provide. Let's not even talk about Spring Autumn Cicada. Right now it is still hibernating. If one said to use it, it would be full of danger, but if one does not use it, once it recovered, it would blow up the aperture. It was a ticking time bomb. Spring Autumn Cicada, Heavenly Essence Treasure Lotus, Blood Skull GU and Bone Flesh Unity GU were the most valuable GU in Fang Yuan's possession. In addition, these four all had a common point, they were all involved in assisting with cultivation. How big of a help they were to Fang Yuan? Big, very big. However, their use in battles weren't that obvious. That GU in the Shang clan city was different in that it was a trump card for battle. With it and some other GU worms to complement it, Fang Yuan could only then be considered to have rebirth. He would have some confidence in being unrivaled among those at the same rank, recovering some of the bearings of his previous life as one of the big shots of the demonic path. It's a long journey to Shang clan city, no need to think about this now, you should first refine the Bone Flesh Unity GU. Fang Yuan stopped this topic. Bai Ningbing felt slightly at ease after knowing Fang Yuan's plan. Having been in contact with Fang Yuan for so long, she was becoming more and more aware of how treacherous and crafty Fang Yuan was. Especially his performance today, such simplicity and honesty even nearly fooled her. Not long ago, she had witnessed how Fang Yuan had refined the Bone Flesh Unity GU and after connecting all of his behavior, she was beginning to feel a chill in her heart. She reminded herself to be careful and learn from the mistake of that miserable Bai clan leader. If she doesn't have some vigilance against Fang Yuan, who knows one day she might be sold by Fang Yuan while still counting the money for him. She shook her head to put her mood in check and began to refine the Bone Flesh Unity GU. This pair of GU had strange shapes with one green and another red. Bai Ningbing chose the red one and began pouring her primeval essence into it. This Bone Flesh Unity GU had already been refined by Fang Yuan at the very beginning. Now, Fang Yuan removed his imprint from the GU and cooperated with Bai Ningbing. Bai Ningbing didn't take a lot of time to refine it. The moment she finished refining the GU, there was a change in Bone Flesh Unity GU. This pair of linked jade bracelets suddenly completely dissipated in the air. And almost instantly, there appeared circular marks on Fang Yuan's and Bai Ningbing's wrists. What was different was, the mark that appeared on Fang Yuan's left wrist was green, whereas it appeared on Bai Ningbing's right wrist and was red. A mysterious connection emerged from both Fang and Bai's hearts. This connection allowed Fang Yuan to sense Bai Ningbing, and Bai Ningbing similarly could sense Fang Yuan, as if their blood and flesh were linked and couldn't be divided. This feeling wasn't good, and it made Bai Ningbing feel nauseous as if she had swallowed a housefly. Fang Yuan's brows also tightly furrowed. This hadn't been mentioned in the scroll left behind by Grey-Bone Scholar. Fang Yuan thought about it before being relieved. The Grey-Bone Scholar had researched this only in theory and never put it into practice. Not knowing this is very normal. This feeling was only a minor detail, the important thing was the next stage. The two endured the odd feeling and sat cross-legged facing each other on the bed, starting their dual cultivation. They both stretched out their hands, the four palms touching each other. To be on the safe side, the weaker cultivation Fang Yuan experimented it. He took out a portion of his green copper primeval essence and cautiously poured it into Bai Ningbing's aperture. The green and red circular marks suddenly let out bright radiance. The foreign primeval essence, when transferred to Bai Ningbing's aperture, immediately changed to Bai Ningbing's aura. It really worked, Bai Ningbing softly exclaimed in delight. I clearly transferred 10% of my green copper primeval essence, but you only received 3/5 of it, 2/5 of it was lost in conversion. Fang Yuan's observation was even more detailed. Bai Ningbing wasn't surprised though. What's hard to understand? Didn't the scroll say it? This bone-flesh unity GU can be divided into 5 types of quality depending on how deep the relation between the two refiners is. From low to high, it is divided into fratricidal, friendly relation, indissoluble relation, familial relation, blood-kin relation. She analyzed and continued. If that pair of brother and sister became GU masters, and refined the blood-flesh unity GU by themselves, with how deep the relation was between them, I estimate they would obtain the highest quality, blood-kin relation. If we had refined it by ourselves, it would definitely be the worst quality, fratricidal, considering our relation. These two neutralized each other and we have thus obtained the mid-quality, indissoluble relation. The bone-flesh unity GU referred to a series GU. Just like how in the boar GU, there were black boar GU, white boar GU, pink boar GU and so on. According to what the scroll mentioned, bone-flesh unity GU contained 5 types of GU worms. The worst quality was the fratricidal GU, which converted 10% primeval essence into 1/5 of it. Above it was friendly relation GU, which converted 10% of primeval essence into 2/5 of it. Indissoluble relation GU could transfer 3/5. Familial relation GU could transfer 4/5, and the top blood-kin relation GU could transfer 100% of the primeval essence without any loss in conversion. By relying on his previous life's experience, Fang Yuan had tampered with the recipe at the last moment, obtaining the rank 3 indissoluble relation GU, which could be considered a pretty good luck. Researching refinement recipe was not easy. It required continuous deductions and experiments along with many GU worms. Fang Yuan was able to succeed with his tampering. One factor was due to the insight from his experience and another factor was luck. However, he had never liked to rely on luck. This didn't mean he was born a jinx or his luck was bad all the time. Fang Yuan's luck was the same as ordinary people, sometimes good, sometimes bad. Why he didn't like it was because it was a factor which he couldn't control. He was a person who strongly desired being in control. He liked to control the situation, control others and naturally control himself. That's it, your turn now, Fang Yuan said. On the whole, he was satisfied getting the indissoluble GU. Bai Ningbing transferred 10% of her snow-silver primeval essence into Fang Yuan's aperture. What happened next was shocking. Just before, when Fang Yuan transferred his dark green primeval essence into Bai Ningbing's aperture, it formed into a green water which was swallowed by the snow-silver primeval sea in just a while, her primeval sea increasing by a bit. Now, when she transferred 10% primeval essence into Fang Yuan's aperture, before her primeval essence had yet to land into his primeval sea, his aperture started shaking. Fang Yuan immediately shouted to stop. This was not a problem in bone-flesh unity GU, but rather was the problem of his cultivation. He was only at upper stage of rank 1 GU master and had stored hundreds of bone spear GU, and now that he was receiving the snow-silver primeval essence, the whole burden was too much to handle for his aperture. Bai Ningbing hesitated. If she continued to transfer the primeval essence now, she might be able to break Fang Yuan's aperture. But even if she broke his aperture, Yang GU could still be destroyed with one thought from Fang Yuan. She thought for a moment before finally deciding to withdraw her primeval essence. Originally, 10% of silver snow primeval essence was transferred to Fang Yuan's aperture, which should have been converted into 3/5. Now after Bai Ningbing withdrew her primeval essence, only about a fifth of the converted primeval essence remained. What made Bai Ningbing inwardly sigh was the ability of this bone-flesh unity GU. Fang Yuan transferred all the bone spear GU to Bai Ningbing's aperture, and then accepted the snow-silver primeval essence. When this portion of snow primeval essence was in Bai Ningbing's body, it had her aura. Now that it had been transferred into Fang Yuan's aperture, it suddenly shrunk and changed to Fang Yuan's aura. The converted snow-silver primeval essence sank towards the bottom of Fang Yuan's aperture and his green-copper primeval essence could only helplessly float above it. The two existed peacefully, as if this portion of snow-silver primeval essence was birthed by Fang Yuan's aperture. If it was foreign primeval essence that came this close in contact, it would immediately explode and cause damage to the aperture. Hence, the normal primeval essence imparting was like walking on a steel rope, very dangerous and exhausting. Fang Yuan tried moving this portion of the white-silver primeval essence to rush at the aperture walls. GU masters were divided into 9 ranks of great realms, each great realms were further divided into 4 small realms, initial stage, middle stage, upper stage and peak stage. Initial stage was light membrane aperture walls, the light was thin and flickering. Middle stage was water membrane aperture walls, the light flowed freely. Upper stage was stone membrane aperture walls, the light was condensed to solid state. Peak stage was crystal membrane aperture walls with ethereal and pure radiance. Fang Yuan was now a rank 1 upper stage, his aperture walls were of stone membrane. However, with one wave of impact from the snow-silver primeval essence, this stone membrane wall actually started shaking violently. Chapter 231. Chapter 231, Addicted to Cultivating. Fang Yuan quickly stopped out of fear. Although he used the liquor worm before, it was used to refine the primeval essence and raise its quality by one small realm. When had he ever used the snow-silver primeval essence which was of a much higher quality? With no choice, Fang Yuan could only reduce the amount used each time, and also slow the waves crashing into his aperture walls. To think there would also be problems when the primeval essence's quality is too high. Fang Yuan was slightly aggravated. In the darkness, Bai Ningbing heard this and rolled her eyes. What sort of godsend opportunity was this? If anyone else knew, they would probably slap him to death out of anger. This was really a blissful worry. After 4 hours, this 6% snow-silver primeval essence was finally expended. His rough stone aperture walls were already showing a glimmer just from this one round of cultivation. It was like a rough jade that had started to give off a luster worthy of its quality after processing. Quick, transfer another 10%. Fang Yuan urged. Like this, they cultivated the whole night. When the rooster crowed in the morning, light had started to shine through the window, and Fang Yuan slowly opened his eyes. His eyes were shining with unconcealable excitement. He looked at his palm and clenched his fists. Rank 1 peak stage. Just a night of cultivation caused him to rise from rank 1 upper stage to rank 1 peak stage. What divine speed is this? Ever since Fang Yuan started cultivating, he had never felt so comfortable and carefree, even in his previous life. Such a feeling was almost addictive. For example, when he had C-grade aptitude, he cultivated like a snail. Using the liquor worm, he walked. With a grade aptitude and heavenly essence treasure lotus, he sprinted. But what the heck was this? With this bone-flesh unity GU, it was like he was soaring with 2 wings. Even Bai Ningbing was stunned. She was smart and quickly realized that this GU had another greater use. This GU can also help in breaking through a large realm. Liquor worm can only raise the cultivation by a small realm, and the GU master had to rely on their own primeval essence when breaking through a big realm, thus aptitude was crucial. But with this bone-flesh unity GU, they could use another person's primeval essence when breaking through to another realm. This was an insane advantage. With this GU, Bai GU Mountain was a complete success. Even if I sacrifice the heavenly essence treasure lotus, it would be worth it. At this time, the morning light entered the farmhouse, and Bai Ningbing sighed loudly. This world holds so many great geniuses. Grey Bone Scholar was only a rank 4 GU master, but he managed to invent the bone-flesh unity GU. He was a true genius. All GU masters with titles had their specialities. In comparison, Fang and Bai were living in obscurity. Under the blazing sun, in the fields. "Auntie, take a rest, I'll help you." Fang Yuan grabbed the hoe from the old lady's hand. The old lady could not compete in strength against the young and strong Fang Yuan. She felt happy seeing her hoe snatched away, smiling till her teeth was exposed. Ah, where can I find such a wonderful lad? Since the first dual cultivation, 2 days had passed. The original plan was to stay a night and leave, but after using the bone-flesh unity GU, Fang Yuan was enjoying the rapid cultivation speed and decided to change his plans, to leaving only after he reached rank 2 at least. After all, there were still 2 to 3 years before that rock is discovered. He was in no rush. Bai Ningbing had no objections. There was a huge difference between rank 1 and rank 2. Becoming a rank 2 GU master would be a great help to their journey. Thus, they stayed in the village and didn't leave. The old lady also did not chase them away. The truth was she wanted the 2 to stay there forever. They worked so diligently, and although one was slightly dumb while the other was ugly, they were honest kids. Fang and Bai worked in the day. One had the strength of 2 boars, while the other had the strength of a crocodile. Among mortals it was like having divine strength. Farm work was a breeze, as easy as pie. Furthermore, it was an old lady's house. What tough work could there be? Every day Fang and Bai only slept a little, but were still full of energy. Such a lifestyle, in comparison to moving in the wilds and living in harsh conditions, while worrying for their safety, was like heaven. Fang Yuan used all his free time to cultivate, like he was addicted. With the bone-flesh unity GU, his speed could only be described with a proverb, 1,000 miles a day. He reached rank 1 peak stage in the first night. And in the past few days, he was steadily building on his foundation, and his aperture walls had already turned crystal clear. At this rate, he would reach rank 2 in a few days. As the number of times they cultivated increased, the bone-flesh unity GU's status rose in Fang Yuan's heart, surpassing the blood skull GU and heavenly essence treasure lotus, only lower than the spring-autumn cicada. There was no need to even mention liquor worm, which could only raise one small realm. It was nothing compared to the bone-flesh unity GU. As for blood skull GU, it required too much investment and time. Although the heavenly essence treasure lotus was good, it could only provide help to GU masters who were alone. As for this bone-flesh unity GU, according to Bai Ningbing's phrase, it was a GU that could change even the very structure of society. This was no exaggeration and was deeply acknowledged by Fang Yuan. Bone-flesh unity GU was a low-rank GU, even rank 1 or 2 GU masters could use it. Although it had many refinement requirements, the standards were really not high, and a clan with enough resources could easily refine this GU. This GU was useless to a loner, but to clans or sects, this was a divine weapon. Using this shortcut, clan elders could nurture the juniors, reducing the time and funds required to raise a GU master by many folds. With this bone-flesh unity GU, it was no longer nurturing GU masters, but creating GU masters in batches. It was a difference between heaven and earth. Because of this GU, Fang Yuan even had a change of thought the night before, getting the urge to change his plans of fighting alone to establishing a force of his own. On that topic, an organized force was just a tool to be used. Fang Yuan had created the Bloodwing demonic sect in his previous life, and if he wanted to establish an organization in this life, it would be a lot easier because he had already experienced it. But to establish an organization, the most important thing was occupying territory filled with resources. And under layers of control, gather people and use their strength to cultivate together. GU master cultivation was like swimming upstream. It was a journey of accumulation and naturally required resources. Thus to rank 5 GU masters and below, having an organization's help would aid in their cultivation. However, once they reached rank 6 and experienced a qualitative change, turning from mortal to immortal, with the might of heaven and earth gathered in them, an organization became useless to them. Knowing this, it was easy to understand Fang Yuan's plans. In his previous life, Fang Yuan established the Bloodwing demonic sect to gather resources. In this life, with his knowledge of many inheritance and secrets, he could simply devour these resources and rise to rank 6 much more quickly. Why would he need to waste time and effort to create a force of his own? But now that he possessed the bone-flesh unity GU, it would be much quicker than he previously assumed if he created an organization. There would be less investments, but greater rewards, creating GU masters in batches and quickly form a large strength. But after Fang Yuan thought about it until morning, he dispelled his notion of creating a force. If he really relied on the bone-flesh unity GU to create an organization, it would be courting death. Such a divine weapon would definitely attract the greed of all the large forces, if revealed. Not to say that he was starting from scratch, even a clan leader with some foundation would not dare to use the bone-flesh unity GU so openly. It truly attracted the jealousy of others. Even Wu clan, the #1 clan in the southern borders, would not dare to use it alone. Fang Yuan estimated there needed to be an alliance of at least Wu clan, Fei clan, Tai clan and Shang clan to guard against the greed of all the GU masters over the world, if they were to use bone-flesh unity GU in large scale. If I want to create a force, even if it starts to look bright, I will get exterminated from all sides. By then, even if I escape, the foundation that I created would be lost. At the end, I would even become a complete loser, pursued by everyone. Fang Yuan had completely calmed down, knowing that this was a dead path, thus he affirmed his will of fighting alone in a large-scale battle. But to be honest, Bai Sheng and Bai Hua were quite intelligent. In their previous life, although they used the bone-flesh unity GU and became the righteous twin stars, they did not use this power to grow their clan's force. With their intentional misleading, although the bone-flesh unity GU's reputation was established, people greatly underestimated its ability. Fang Yuan recalled, and sensed the wisdom in these two twin stars. Being able to come to Bai Gu Mountain this time and killing the siblings prematurely, could be considered a great accomplishment. But Fang Yuan thought again, this bone-flesh unity GU can only be used by two people. Bai Hua and Bai Sheng must have used the refinement method on the scroll. Without my unique alteration, the difficulty in defining the bone-flesh unity GU is greatly increased. It is possible that they did not even think of this prospect. After thinking for so much, Fang Yuan's head was starting to hurt. He plowed the fields under the intense sun as he shook his head, collecting his dispersed thoughts. After all, these things were not important and it was useless to think about it. Unfortunately, I do not have GU worms that aid in thinking like creative thinking GU, intelligent heart GU, tactful GU and lightning thoughts GU. Even at the very least, the bookworm would suffice. It seems I can only purchase them when I get to Shang Clan City. The old lady's field was small. Fang Yuan quickly plowed half of it, when Bai Ningbing felt interest and started to help on her own accord. She had seen farmers plowing fields on Qingmao Mountain, but back then she was still muddle-headed, and now that she was in this state, she wanted to experience the wonders in it. Only when the night approached, did they start eating in front of the old lady's house. You must be hungry, there are still sweet potatoes in the pot, it will definitely fill you up. The old lady grinned as she scooped 2 bowls of rice. This rice was not the superior rice from the rice bag grass, but rough grains. However, the two were not picky eaters anyway. Eat slowly, I have good news to share with you too. On the table, the old lady smiled mysteriously. Chapter 232. Chapter 232, Intense Pain of Changing Bone. Auntie, what good news do you have? Fang Yuan immediately asked with a foolish grin. As he was asking, an old man walked in from outside. Bai Ningbing secretly glanced at the old man. This old man was a GU master. However, he only possessed rank 1 initial stage cultivation and was very old, there was nothing to worry. Young man, this is our village head. The old lady introduced the man. Fang Yuan and Bai Ningbing hurriedly stood up. Fang Yuan scratched his head appearing to be uneasy. Honorable village head, I am. He hadn't even introduced himself when the village head waved his hand with a smile. I know, you two are outsiders. GU masters could sense the aura of other GU masters. However, Fang and Bai had the breath concealment GU in their ears, their GU master aura were concealed, and the village head couldn't detect it. The old village head had obtained the report on these two strangers few days ago. But he didn't take it to heart. These days, besides Fang and Bai, there were many new people who had come to the village and lodged. If you want to come, just come, why is there a need to bring in gifts? The old lady grumbled. The old village head hadn't come empty-handed, he was holding a string of tied fishes. I caught the fish this morning from the pool. Your teeth aren't in a good condition, drink some fish soup to recover your health. The old village head smiled. The old lady gave him a supercilious look before accepting the fish. I will go cook the fish soup. One could sense the happiness in her voice. Bai Ningbing couldn't sense anything from how the two elderly behaved and spoke to each other. Fang Yuan's gaze, however, flashed, realizing this old man and the old lady might probably have fallen in love at this old age. Auntie, let me do it. Fang Yuan immediately said. You guys just sit and chat. There is good news. The old lady quickly waved her hand, indicating Fang and Bai to sit. I have told your story to the villagers, the village head is a GU master, he can help you guys. GU master. Fang Yuan's eyes immediately opened as wide as saucers, he appeared stunned and stumped as he stood there. Bai Ningbing almost couldn't help rolling her eyes at Fang Yuan's expression. She also did her best to show a shocked expression, but her performance was clearly far behind Fang Yuan's, and she knew this clearly. The old village head laughed loudly at Fang Yuan's expression. He immediately felt this ugly and silly guy was somewhat adorable. Compared to Bai Ningbing, who only looked somewhat stunned, the old village head liked Fang Yuan more. Come and sit down, you two youngsters, don't be reserved. He waved and sat down first. Fang Yuan acted bashful before he sat down while puffing hard. He appeared nervous. Bai Ningbing also followed his expression from behind, but it looked somewhat unnatural. The old village head, however, didn't suspect anything. I heard you guys had gone to sell herbs and salted meat, but unfortunately came across a wild beast. Your auntie told everything to me. You have helped her a lot these days. I have some purple maple leaves here. In a few days, a caravan will be coming here. You can sell these purple maple leaves and recover your capital. When Bai Ningbing realized this was the good news the old lady was talking about, she immediately lost her interest. T. This, Fang Yuan stuttered with happiness. Tears flowed out from his eyes as he choked with emotion. Honored sir, you are really a good person, a great person. The old village head patted the shoulder of this devil and tried to sympathize. No need to say that. Any person has their ups and downs in life. But I can't just give these purple maple leaves to you, otherwise the villagers will say something about it. How about this? Go help plow the fields in the eastern end of the village. You just need to do it for 7 days until the caravan arrives. He was actually really grateful to Fang and Bai. He had been a mortal who was born and raised in this village. He and the old lady had been childhood sweethearts. But the affairs of the world was fickle. The old lady was married off to someone else. During one time when a caravan had come by, a GU master noticed his intelligence and gave him some help, turning him into a GU master. Because of this, he became the village head. Although he still had feelings for the old lady, both of them had families and children, and it would leave a bad impression if he stayed overly in touch with her. Although he is the village head, he couldn't brazenly assist her. He had actually been secretly observing Fang and Bai, and felt their nature wasn't bad. They were hardworking and were honest kids, just that their luck was a bit bad. Hence, when the old lady told their story to him, he immediately agreed to help. You agreed to the village head during the dinner. Are you really thinking of plowing the fields for 7 days for a cart of that purple whatever leaves? In the house at night, Bai Ningbing puzzledly asked. Purple maple leaves is of course not my true objective. Didn't you hear during the meal? A caravan will be passing through this place. Fang Yuan replied. So what? Didn't you mention that caravans pass through Zhu Mountain all year round? The caravans pass through once a year sometimes, and sometimes, once per half a year. What I had not expected was that a caravan would be coming in just a few days. I made some indirect inquiries and found that this caravan is traveling from east to west. Even if it doesn't go to Shangclan City, it will at least travel along our destination. Bai Ningbing suddenly understood. You want to join the caravan and borrow their strength to reach Shangclan City. She pondered over it for a while, increasingly feeling this was a great method. First of all, earth-hearing eargrass was destroyed. They lacked investigative GU, which meant it would be quite troublesome if they were to travel by themselves. Secondly, they had committed crimes. The Bai clan was definitely chasing after them without rest. Joining the caravan was a great way to cover up their tracks. Finally, they had breath concealment GU and were able to disguise as mortals. The caravans would definitely take precautions against foreign GU masters, but definitely wouldn't have much vigilance against mortals. Even if they were to be discovered, there wouldn't be any problems. When that time comes, with a rank 3 and a rank 2 cultivations, they could still make an escape. The heads of the caravans normally possessed rank 3 cultivation. Those that were rank 4 like Jia Fu were quite rare. But even if we disguise as mortals, could we just casually enter the caravan? Bai Ningbing thought about it, but still had this worry. Fang Yuan chuckled. Of course, we won't be able to just casually join a caravan, we would need a guarantor even as mortals. But I reckon the old village head can resolve this problem for us. Only then did Bai Ningbing felt relieved and let go of her worry. I was worried for nothing. Indeed, with this guy's craftiness, how could he not have thought of this loophole? She thought. Alright, I will be able to break through to rank 2 initial stage after 7 days. And I think it is time to use the Iron Bone GU and Jade Bone GU. Bai Ningbing's mouth twitched before saying lightly, I already told you before to use them, but you didn't agree and just nurtured them vainly for so many days, wasting so much spring milk. Fang Yuan heaved a deep sigh. Youngster, you are ignorant and thus fearless of how much pain is involved in this. Tonight, we won't do dual cultivation. I need to properly rest my mind before I use the Iron Bone GU tomorrow night. Next day, Fang and Bai went to work the fields in the eastern end of the village like their agreement. Fang Yuan intentionally worked from morning till sunset. His body contained enormous strength. This bit of work wasn't even worthy to be mentioned, but he could already hear other farmers taking notice of him and even looking up to him. At night, he sat cross-legged on the bed and concentrated on transferring primeval essence into the iron bone GU within his aperture. This GU was like a bone, with rounded and smooth ends, and slender mid-area. The whole bone was jet black as if it was made from iron. This GU was a rank 3 GU and it required instant consumption of great amounts of primeval essence to be activated. Fang Yuan was just a rank 1 GU master and shouldn't have been able to use it. But after Bai Ningbing transferred a lot of his snow-silver primeval essence, he was barely qualified to activate it. The transferred snow-silver primeval essence was almost completely used up in transferring to the iron bone GU. This GU first let out dark radiance before immediately melting down into iron liquid. It flew out from the aperture and merged with Fang Yuan's skeleton. Pain, an intense and inconceivable pain. Fang Yuan felt like his heart was branded by a scalding hot branding iron. Anywhere the iron liquid passed through in the bones felt like it was being roasted in burning coals. This kind of pain penetrated even the soul. Fang Yuan's face distorted under this pain. Immediately following, drops of sweat began to fall from Fang Yuan's forehead, and in the next moment, his whole body was drenched with sweat. After a long while, Fang Yuan couldn't endure the pain any longer and let out a groan. Bai Ningbing's expression changed. Because of the darkness, she hadn't been able to clearly see Fang Yuan's earlier expression and situation, but from this oppressed groan, she judged this pain was no small matter. She knew what insane willpower Fang Yuan had. He hadn't let out a word even when his whole body was covered with flames. But after using the iron bone GU, he let out such a sound. From this, one could tell how intense the pain was. Among the GU Master's cultivation, three big aspects of nurture, use and refine. In regards to use, some GU were extremely peculiar. Iron bone GU was one of those, giving extremely intense pain when used. Unfortunately, one needed to endure this pain, and if in case they lost consciousness in the middle, all their efforts would be wasted. Historically, many famous GU Masters had died from pain of using GU like the iron bone GU. Fang Yuan clenched his teeth and persevered. The unbearable pain continued to flood in. He involuntarily let out several groan-like snorts from his nose. In the end, his whole body was almost paralyzed from the pain. He couldn't even exert any more strength in his jaws. When all of his bones were dyed a layer of black by the molten iron, he finally relaxed, and almost instantly, a burst of dizziness attacked him. His eyes blacked out and he started losing consciousness. However, he forcibly persevered, and after taking few deep breaths, he slowly laid down. "Is it over?" Bai Ningbing's voice came from the darkness. Naturally, Fang Yuan sucked in cold air. His voice was hoarse but stable. "Go to sleep, we still need to work tomorrow." "Okay." Bai Ningbing felt greatly disappointed when she realized Fang Yuan was still able to be clear-headed. If he had fainted, she might have had a chance to get hold of the Yang Jiyu. "No, that isn't right. Yang Jiyu is inside Fang Yuan's aperture. How can I take it out without any special means?" Thinking of this, she let go her dark thoughts. The next day, Fang Yuan didn't go to work, instead staying in bed. The intense pain was still lingering around and tormenting him. If he made even a slight movement, the violent pain that emerged felt like a chainsaw was sawing at his nerves. The pain was temporarily dominating him and putting him into an extremely weak state. Let alone farm work, he was not able to even leave the bed and walk. At this instance, Bai Ningbing realized that Fang Yuan had forcibly kept up a facade last night. Resultantly, she went to the farm and did the work alone. By evening, Fang Yuan was able to make some movements. Bai Ningbing refused to believe him and used the jade bone GU. Obviously, she found out the absurd amount of pain Fang Yuan had suffered. As prideful as she was, she couldn't help groaning in pain and even grabbing the bed sheets. However, even though her whole body was trembling and shaking, she was able to persist till the end. An intense dizziness attacked her immediately after her success. She fell down on the bed and instantly lost her consciousness. Chapter 233. Chapter 233. A deep misunderstanding. On the second day, it was Bai Ningbing's turn to lie on the bed, in so much pain that she could not move at all. Fang Yuan had recovered mostly, going off to plow the fields at the east of the hamlet. The old lady went into the room, asking in concern. Bai Ningbing kept saying she was fine, that she was tired after a day of physical work, and that she only needed to rest for a day. The old lady gave an understanding smile. Indeed you were tired, your actions these past 2 days were slightly loud, I could hear it all. What? Bai Ningbing could not understand it. Young lady, stop keeping it from me, I could tell a mile away. The old lady laughed. Bai Ningbing's pupils shrunk. Did her identity get exposed? How can that be? At once, a deep killing intent arose in her, but she could not bear to do it. She could cold-heartedly watch the Bai clan siblings burn to death, but that is because the Bai clan was destined to be their enemies. Although she was proud, she was not merciless like Fang Yuan. Towards people who had helped her, she would not be able to act. The old lady in front of her was such a case, and so was the former Bai clan leader from Bai Ningbing's clan. The old lady held no suspicions towards Bai Ningbing. She grabbed her hand and patted. Young lady, I can tell these few days, how can guys have such a butt and waist like yours? No wonder you wear a straw hat, and do not like talking. Although I am old, I am still a woman. We women have a talent compared to guys, that is we are meticulous. Ah, Bai Ningbing did not know what to say. The old lady was enthusiastic, speaking in an understanding tone. I understand you, as a woman, dressing up like this outside to protect yourself, otherwise accidents might occur. Bai Ningbing was speechless. She hated people using the word, woman, to trigger her nerves. But towards this enthusiastic and simple old lady, she was very helpless. The old lady smiled until her eyes were a straight line, suddenly suppressing her voice. You two must be a couple, right? You have been too loud these days, I could even hear you from far away. I don't want to say this but, those actions, you have to restrain yourselves. This was simply a nightmare. Bai Ningbing's expression froze, like she was zapped by lightning. Auntie, it is not what you think. A long while later, she barely squeezed out this sentence, her expression extremely stiff. Sigh, why are you so shy? It's nothing, you can tell me everything. I've lived for so many years, what have I not seen? The granny winked, laughing until her teeth were showing. And then her gaze shifted to the bed, subconsciously or not. Bai Ningbing followed her gaze, and just wanted to kill herself. But honestly, the bedsheets were torn by her. Next, the old lady said a few things to her, but Bai Ningbing's brain was in a mess, not listening to a single word. In the afternoon, when Fang Yuan came back to eat, the old lady blocked him at the door, kindly reminding, Lad, your wife has told me already. I know youngsters are in heat but you have to take care of your own bodies, and even more concern for your wife. Remember my words, okay? Ha, Fang Yuan opened his mouth wide, not able to react to what he has just heard. The old lady clicked her tongue, using a dissatisfied and helpless tone. Everything about you is good, except that you are too simple. Being so honest, you'll lose out eventually. If Gu clan, Tai Divine Investigator, or Bai Hua and Bai Sheng heard these words, they might jump out of their graves. Fang Yuan stood on the spot in daze, suddenly light flashed across his eyes, and he finally got it. Oh that, he scratched his head sheepishly, nodding, Auntie, you are right, I get it. At the dinner table, he saw Bai Ningbing. Bai Ningbing looked at him coldly, her body almost emitting cold air. The corners of Fang Yuan's eyes had been twitching non-stop. This matter was a reminder to Fang Yuan as well. Fang Yuan can easily portray any role, that is because he has a rich experience and broad horizon. But Bai Ningbing was not, because even after disguise, she still has her flaws. Thankfully, this flaw is small, and in this world, whenever a woman traveled, she would definitely dress up as a male, to reduce the potential danger she might encounter. Even though this misunderstanding was very awkward, Fang Yuan had to admit that this can better conceal their true identities. Bai Ningbing's mood became worse. That night, she asked Fang Yuan again, when he can return the Yang Jiyu to her. Fang Yuan could only answer, that once he reached rank 3, he would return it to her. Bai Ningbing snorted, she understood Fang Yuan, she would rather die than trust Fang Yuan's words. But now she could not take the Yang Jiyu by force yet. When I get to Shangclan City, I have to get at least a poison vow Jiyu, 3-hand Jiyu, or even seize Jiyu would work too. Thinking so, Bai Ningbing was even more anxious about getting to Shangclan City. Other than dual cultivation, Fang Yuan's cultivation has a new chapter added to it. That is, using the crocodile strength Jiyu to increase his strength. Speaking of which, being able to feed the crocodile strength Jiyu to this date, was out of Fang Yuan's expectations. The ones to thank were the Bai clan. It was due to getting large amount of crocodile meat from them that Fang Yuan was able to raise it to now. Otherwise, it would have starved to death long ago. Crocodile strength Gu was like black and white boar Gu, they permanently added strength to the Gu master's body. But before rank 6, a GU master still has a mortal body. Like a bowl, it cannot contain a lake, a GU master's body has its limits eventually. That is also why Fang Yuan could not use the crocodile strength GU before. But now, he had obtained the Iron Bones GU and Jade Bones GU from Bai GU Mountain. These two GU were expenditure type GU. Each had their merits, and their values were about the same, able to permanently improve the GU master's physique. Choosing which GU decides the progression route of the GU master. When GU masters use GU, there were much to consider. Some GU could not be used together, while some complemented each other and produced greater effect when used together. Bai Ningbing once used the Ice Muscles GU, thus her body was made of ice muscles. Ice muscles stopped perspiration, thus she cannot use a GU like Blood Sweat GU in the future. And if she uses the Jade Bones GU, her original mortal bones would become Jade Bones. Ice muscles and Jade Bones, it was a superb combination. Each person has their own needs. Ice muscles Jade Bones might suit Bai Ningbing, but it does not suit Fang Yuan. Considering the legendary GU at Shangclan City, Fang Yuan plans, he wanted to form the most effective, Steel Tendon, Iron Bones. Being able to get the Iron Bones GU on Bai GU Mountain, it was a perfect scenario for him. After using the Iron Bones GU, Fang Yuan's bones were tough as iron now. With his body foundation improved, he can now add the strength of one crocodile in addition to the strength of 2 boars. His strength continued to rise. 7 days passed in a flash. According to their initial agreement, Fang Yuan got a cart of purple maple leaves from the old village head. These goods were very cheap, the entire cart could not even sell for 2 primeval stones. But this was not Fang Yuan's objective, he only wanted to hide his identity and follow and get closer to the caravan. When the caravan arrived, it was 3 days later than the old village had expected. Only on the 9th day did they appear. The originally peaceful town boomed with life again. The caravan's size was huge. Bus-sized black-skinned fat beetles carried goods and people as they crawled slowly. Beside them, colored ostriches dragged the dray. Mountain large spiders wrapped boxes and containers on their bodies, winged snakes meandered, and toads carried large bundles on them. These stead-type GU formed the main body of the caravan. Other than that, there were large numbers of mortals pulling cows, horses, or carrying bamboo bags. This year's caravan is finally here. Every time I see these snakes, I get a little scared. Lord GU masters are really amazing, they can make these ruthless snakes so tame. I hope my cured meat can be sold this time. I don't expect a high price, I'll be satisfied with just a few primeval stone fragments. Yeah, our luck is not as good as the outsider. The village head is too biased, that is an entire cart of purple maple leaves, to think he gave them away like that. The villagers made many temporary stalls at the village entrance, as Fang Yuan and Bai Ningbing dragged a cart of purple maple leaves, mixed among them. Among these people, some were all locals, others were from other villages, carrying goods with them. Places with people will have competition for benefits. Fang and Bai, even though they stay at the village and plowed fields for 7 days, their cart of purple maple leaves attracted many jealous gazes into them. Fang Yuan, of course, did not pay them any attention. He was secretly observing the members of the approaching caravan. This caravan is a mixed one, with many different clan forces among them gathered together. It was not like the Jia clan caravan, with Jia clan as the main force. This caravan, other than the selected leader, there were also a number of vice leaders, like a alliance army. This was good news to Fang Yuan. The more complex the structure of the caravan, the easier it is for him to mix in. Hey, how much are you selling this cart of purple maple leaves? Someone quickly came to ask for prices. 2.5 primeval stones. Fang Yuan said. 2.5, you might as well go rob. The person stared with wide-opened eyes. Buy it or leave, Bai Ningbing said at the side. HMPH. The person waved his sleeves and walked off. If they really sold this cart, what excuse would Fang and Bai use to join the caravan? Thus, they purposely denied 3 potential buyers and deterred them. Until evening, they still did not manage to sell the cart of purple maple leaves. Instead, others managed to sell most of their medicine grass, cured meat, milk, etc. After all, the caravan was huge, they needed to replenish these goods. Many people saw Fang and Bai as a joke, and some even start to mock them. Some kind people reminded them to reduce the price appropriately. But Fang and Bai paid them all no heed. Before night time, Fang Yuan pretended to be dejected, dragging this cart of purple maple leaves back to the old village head's house. The old village head asked, and sighed, You too, I told you that 2 primeval stones were already a high price. We can sell it even for 1.5. Why didn't you listen to me? Adamantly selling at 2.5. Chapter 234. Chapter 234. Arrest warrant. You have to know, there are lots of purple maple leaves on Zhu Mountain. Those people buy it because it is more convenient for them, and they can save time from picking them. Sigh, it's pointless to tell you now. Never mind, never mind. The old village head continuously sighed. Fang Yuan bobbed his head. We just wanted to sell it for more primeval stones, one is to recoup the cost, the other is to take care of our parents. Who would have thought that after so much effort, it could not be sold? He sounded anxious, a hint of crying in his speech. Hearing his words, the old village head's heart softened, the grudge in his heart dispersing by more than half. Fang Yuan said again, "No worries, Lord Village Head, I have decided to follow the caravan tomorrow. By lowering the price, I'm sure we can sell it eventually." Follow the caravan? Who allowed you to follow the caravan? The old village head stared with wide-opened eyes. Fang Yuan said, as a matter of fact, I saw many mortals in the caravan. If they can follow, why can we? The old village head rested his head on his arm. Those are the family servants of the Lord Zhu Masters. You think simply anyone can just follow them? What if people with ill intentions mix in among them? Ah, Fang Yuan's mouth opened wide, stunned on the spot. Then how? The caravan is leaving tomorrow. Sigh, the old man sighed deeply. Never mind, I'll help you to the end. Tomorrow I'll beg them to let you into the caravan, it'll all be up to your fate. The sun had just rose, and there were still a few stars visible in the light blue sky. Looking afar, Zhu Mountain is enveloped in a dark purple color, peaceful and mysterious. After a night of rest, the caravan had started loading up their goods already. Inspect the goods once more. Tie the ropes tightly, if anything drops during the journey, we will punish you with 100 beatings. Quick, 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 feed our black skin beetles till full. Zhu masters ordered and sent their family servants into a busy state. Some had bad temper, holding a whip in their hands, whoever moved slowly would be whipped. Some loved their Zhu worms, and fed them personally. Lord Chen, the old village head bowed, paying respects to one of the vice leaders in the caravan. Oh, old Zhang, I am busy here, just tell me what you have to say. This Chen Zhu master said. It is like this. I have 2 juniors, doing small business. Before the old village head finished, Chen Zhu master suddenly shouted, Chen Xin, why are you in a daze? Go and feed the winged snakes, you think those servants can feed them properly? That snake of yours had already swallowed 3 servants these few days. Yes, clan elder. Chen Xin was grabbed, raising his head and said. But Chen Zhu master did not let go of him, chiding again, how many times have I told you, call me clan elder in the village, in the caravan, you have to address me as vice leader. Yes, 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 Lord Vice Leader. Chen Xin answered, running away swiftly. This rascal, Chen Zhu master scolded under his breath in anger, before turning to the old village head, what did you say earlier? Oh, you want me to vouch for your 2 juniors to enter the caravan? Lord is truly wise, that is the case. Old village head quickly answered. That, Chen Zhu master purposely hummed. The old village head was turned into a Zhu master by him, because this route needed for the caravan to pass by, he needed someone who worked for him. For caravans traveling, those villages were crucial, but the mortal hamlets along the way cannot be ignored as well, they were equally important. The caravans had many people and much to do, much living resources would be quickly expended and need to be replenished along the way. There are also servants, when they encounter danger, some servants die and manpower becomes lacking. The caravan will have to select some mortals in those hamlets to recruit. Speaking of which, among Chen Zhu master's family servants, manpower was starting to feel lacking. After all, mortals had cheap lives, they were just a type of expendable resources that can talk and move. Henceforth, when I cross by Zhu Mountain, I will still need to make use of old Zhang. If I don't accede to his request, wouldn't that discourage him? Although I am lacking manpower now, I cannot agree so easily. I have to wait, and sell this favor at a good price. Chen Zhu master was still considering, when a messenger Zhu master from the caravan came running. There was a stack of paper in his hand, as he ran and shouted, all members take note, there is a new arrest warrant, there is a new arrest warrant. He shouted as he pasted a piece of paper on a black-skinned fat beetle's body. New arrest warrant, from which clan, how much bounty, retrieve it for me. Chen Zhu master was interested. Yes, vice leader. The messenger Zhu master quickly handed over a piece of paper. Chen Zhu master looked. Oh, an arrest warrant from Bai clan. As long as information is accurate, they will give 1,000 primeval stones. So much. Chen Jiyu Master's eyes shone, gaining interest in the matter. There were 2 prices on the warrant, one was information price, the other was killing price. Information priced at 1,000 primeval stones, normally it is used for a wanted demonic cultivator that has made a name for himself. But this poster only showed 2 youngsters, with proper features, and one was even very beautiful. One male, one female, these were 2 newbies. One is a rank 1 GU master, the other is rank 3. With information price of 1,000 primeval stones, and killing price of 8,000 primeval stones. PFF'd, it seems that Bai clan hates these 2 demonic rascals to the core. Hee, Chen Jiyu Master laughed at their predicament, so long as it is not his Chen family. What he did not know was, these 2 demonic rascals were near him. The old village head took a look at the arrest warrant, and a chill came from within his heart. GU Master's world is really dangerous, such a beautiful youngster, is actually a criminal demonic cultivator. Let's just hope that they are not coming to our village. Alright, seeing how you've worked hard for all these years old Zhang, I will accede to your request. Chen Jiyu Master said. Ah, thank you Lord. Lord, I will call them here now. The old village head was overjoyed. Chen Jiyu Master waved his hand. No need, I'm very busy. Just get them to report to Chen Xin. Towards 2 mortals, he held no interest. At the same time, he did not connect them to the arrest warrant in his hand, after all this is the Bai clan's request, and they were thousands of li away. Chen Jiyu Master subconsciously felt that he had a very safe distance away. This was a very common thinking. Even on modern Earth, when murder cases happen in cities, no matter how ruthless and vile it is, other cities do not feel much danger, even if transportation is so advanced. Other than that, they also have a fluke mind mentality. In this vast world, where people lived everywhere, how would these 2 demonic scoundrels come to my caravan? Then I would be way too unlucky, it's impossible. People always tend to think that unlucky events would not occur on themselves. Moreover, many people in arrest warrants are extremely vicious and cruel characters, attracting people's attention. 2 newbies like Fang and Bai, one rank 3 and one rank 1, what could they amount to? Chen Xin saw the 2 of them but did not think of the warrant at all. Fang and Bai's image had changed completely, not just the disfigured Fang Yuan, but after these days of practicing, she also started to become more natural. Chen Xin lost interest immediately, especially Fang Yuan's appearance made him disgusted. He was only rank 1, while Fang Yuan rose to rank 2 several days ago. Chen Xin observed them carelessly, and did not feel any GU master aura, thus calling an old attendant and getting him to arrange Fang and Bai's jobs. What are your names? The old attendant asked. Only at this time did someone ask for their names. My name is He Tu, my wife is called Bai Yun. Fang Yuan casually said. Female. The old attendant frowned. He stared at Bai Ningbing and looked, seeing her dark skin appearance and her dazed look, she's called Bai Yun 1. This He Tu is also really ugly. Women are trouble, you have to be more careful. If something happens, don't blame me for not reminding you guys. The old attendant said. I know, this cart beside me is filled with purple maple leaves. My wife is staying on the cart and taking care of the goods, I do not want much interaction with other people. Fang Yuan said. HMPH, good that you understand. The old attendant arranged a physical task for the 2, to move goods, but for Fang Yuan and Bai Ningbing, it is no issue at all, but Bai Ningbing had to pretend and act like she was out of breath constantly, causing her mental fatigue. Not far away, some family servants were slacking, resting at a corner. Their gazes were directed towards Fang and Bai. Brother Chang, there's 2 newcomers. Some people saw them bringing in their private goods. That's an entire cart of purple maple leaves. A thin family servant said excitedly. Depriving newcomers, it was the ritual that the caravan old-timers often did. Brother Chang squatted on the ground, squinting, I see it. Skinny monkey, go test them out. His body was strong as an ox, although his muscles were developed, he was not a rash person. In this world where GU masters ruled above all, the strength of a mortal is nothing spectacular. Being able to become the most important person in this small circle, he had some wits after all. Skinny monkey sighed, under everyone's supervision, he got near to Fang Yuan. Hey brother, where are you from? Others call me brother monkey, from now on we will be working together, I hope we can work together amicably. Skinny monkey forced out a smile. Fang Yuan gave him a glance, only saying a word, scram. Skinny monkey's eyes expanded as he showed a look of rage. Fang Yuan did not look at him, but continued moving his goods. He had worked in the caravan in his previous life, extremely clear of such rituals. In plain words, Skinny Monkey was testing water, using words to test out Fang Yuan's identity. If he did not have any backing, they would work together and bully him, depriving him of some benefits. But the truth is, not only are humans like this, GU masters were the same, they just did it more elegantly. Moving alone and risking their lives, it included fighting with wild beasts. Moving together in groups, it was competing with their own kind. At places with benefits, there were conflicts. There is only so much space after all, everyone wants to live better, and have more room to themselves. What can they do? They can only invade other people's spaces. Skinny Monkey had not expected Fang Yuan to not give face, thus he was stunned at the spot, staring intently at Fang Yuan. Fang Yuan did not give a thought about such a character. Mortals were cheap as grass, even if one or two were killed, so what? As long as the goods were still delivered, the GU masters in charge would not care. Even if they did, Fang Yuan had backup methods to resolve this issue. All in all, trying to provoke Fang Yuan, these family servants were courting death. What? Why are you not scramming? You want me to chase you away? Fang Yuan gave Skinny Monkey a cold look again. Skinny Monkey snorted, but did not explode in anger, instead taking his leave. Such a strong attitude, it caused Brother Chang to feel threatened. Did these two have some sort of background? Otherwise how could they be so arrogant? I had better check up on their backgrounds first. Chapter 235. Chapter 235, Shang Xin Si. The caravan traveled for the whole day, and chose a valley to camp for the night. The day went pretty good for the caravan as they only came across 3 small beast groups. They killed 2 groups and chased one away. Calculating the losses and the profits they made from killing the beast groups, they had made some profits instead. The setting sun dyed the clouds with colors, red, orange, grayish-red, purple. There were all kinds of colors. The clouds also formed into all kinds of shapes, appearing like a roaring lion one moment, or galloping Pegasus the next moment, or a blossoming sea of flowers. The multicolored sunlight shone upon the valley which resembled a jade-green gem. After the caravan finished all the arrangements for the night, there was a certain area in the caravan that was a cacophony of noises. Come, have a look, today's freshly slaughtered beast meat. Buttermilk, fragrant and sweet buttermilk. Only 10 pieces of clothing remaining, stock clearance sale. Fang Yuan and Bai Ningbing were also among the crowd. They dragged their handcart and occupied an area. At their left was a stall selling wild herbs and at their right was a stall selling milk. Bai Ningbing was rather interested in all this as she looked all around her. To think there would be a small bazaar like this in the caravan. If there is consumption, there will be transactions, and the consumption will thus stimulate marketplaces. Fang Yuan answered. Bai Ningbing's eyes flashed. These words were truly incisive. She looked at Fang Yuan. Are you planning on selling these purple maple leaves? Fang Yuan slightly nodded his head. We have already entered the caravan so we can just conveniently dispose of them now. Keeping them with us will only attract the greed of some scoundrels. What's more, it wasn't easy to preserve purple maple leaves. They had it for just over a day, and already the purple maple leaves on Fang Yuan's cart were showing signs of withering. And as time continued to pass, their value will only get lesser and lesser. Of course, Fang Yuan didn't care about measly 2 primeval stones. However, just throwing them off wouldn't be in accord to their current identities, and would only serve to raise suspicions. The small bazaar in the caravan is divided into 2 types. The one we are dealing in is only the transactions between mortals and it will be held every day. Another type is the transactions between GU masters, which is held once a week. Fang Yuan said. Bai Ningbing's blue eyes, covered by the straw hat, slightly brightened. It would be helpful to us if we could join the small bazaar held for GU masters. Shang Clan City is still a great distance away. If not anything else, we need an investigative GU to prevent any unforeseen circumstances. I have already planned this out but it's still too early. Fang Yuan confidently smiled as he thought of a certain thing in his 2-seat of flour. The two were discussing softly, when a male servant walked over while staggering. He was wearing shabby and torn clothes, his face filled with bloodstains, a clear resemblance to beggars. As he walked to the stall beside Fang Yuan's, and saw the pots filled with milk, he swallowed his saliva. Brother, could you give me some milk to drink? Go away, don't hinder my business. The milk seller impatiently waved his hands. This male servant, helplessly, walked away towards Fang and Bai's cart, 2 brothers. He hadn't even finished saying his sentence, when Fang Yuan walked to the front and kicked him, shouting with a vicious tone, screw off. The male servant fell down to the ground, his ragged clothes were stained by the black muddy soil. His previous wounds were stimulated by the kick, making him grimace in pain. He climbed up with great difficulty, and looked at Fang Yuan with hatred. Good, I will remember this, we are all mortals, everyone has a bad day. HMPH. Fang Yuan's expression turned cold as he raised his feet again. Bam! This servant fell to the ground again. Dare to say one more word. Fang Yuan stared down at this servant fiercely. The servant gave a vicious glare at Fang Yuan as he crawled up, but he didn't dare to squeak a word. However, just as he stood up, he was again met with Fang Yuan's kick. I don't like your expression. Fang Yuan indifferently spoke with his arms crossed at his chest. The servant lowered his head and crawled up silently, not daring to look at Fang Yuan again. He didn't continue begging anymore and walked far away. Looking at his departing figure, Bai Ningbing asked in bewilderment, strange, how can there be a beggar in the caravan? This is normal. This servant must have made a mistake or his master is in bad mood today. In short, he was beaten by a GU master and also had his meal cancelled. Fang Yuan shrugged his shoulders, his gaze, however, coldly glanced towards a corner. In a corner, 3 to 4 sturdily built servants were catching new faces, bullying the newcomers. After noticing the situation at Fang Yuan's, they retrieved their gazes and looked at other targets. Mortals had cheap lives, their status were extremely low, and their survival was as difficult as walking on steel wire. Inside the caravan, the GU masters could easily beat them to death and take their lives like cutting grass. Anyway, mortals like them could be replenished easily in the hamlets along the way. Every time the caravans came across danger, there would be large numbers of dying mortals. Besides these, there were also secret and almost desperate struggles between the mortals themselves. Fang Yuan had just arrived at the caravan, but 2 groups already wanted to find troubles for him. He, naturally, wasn't afraid of these trouble, and could easily resolve them, but he would rather resolve them earlier. Of course, there were some mortals who lived beautiful lives. Most of them were those with backgrounds or were relatives and friends of GU masters, using this identity to do as they liked. After the beggar walked away, 2 groups of mortals approached Fang Yuan. The head of one group was an old man with sharp eyes. After asking Fang Yuan for the price, he immediately lowered the price to a quarter. Fang Yuan reckoned this old geezer's identity should be the chief supervisor in charge of arranging the tasks for the servants. The head of another group was a woman. She was actually wearing silk clothing and her eyes gave off seductive glances. Fang Yuan immediately understood she must be a sex tool of a certain or some male GU masters. The 2 heads were both accompanied by a large number of people, and although they were mortals, their status were extremely evident. They lowered the price to a very low amount, with the intention of buying low and selling high. They had some wealth and were not like most of the servants who could not even be sure if they could get a meal that day. While Fang Yuan had no need for this cart of purple maple leaves, in order to match with his current identity and not let the cat out of the bag, he refused the lowered prices of these 2 people. The old man left with pleasant countenance but there was threat hidden in his tone. The woman just walked away while cursing and swearing. I will sell this cart of rotten leaves to the next person that comes to bid. Just when Fang Yuan was pondering over his next action, the small bazaar suddenly went in an uproar. Some people excitedly cheered and shouted. The kind-hearted lady of Zhang clan has arrived. Lady Zhang is compassionate and kind, she is a fairy incarnate. She is a really good person, I won't go hungry today. What's happening? Bai Ningbing surveyed the situation and saw a green image appearing through the entrance of the bazaar. Fang Yuan was also bewildered. What's up with this? Lady Zhang, Fairy Zhang. A group of servants flocked over to the woman, and instantly, the bazaar entrance was crowded. These people were mostly the ones who were punished by GU masters and didn't have anything to eat now. The man who Fang Yuan kicked earlier was also among them, extending his neck and arms. Don't be in a hurry everyone, there is plenty of it, slow down. The green-clothed girl said. Her voice was gentle and soft, and was immediately submerged in the shouts of the crowd. Keep your mouths shut, line up and come one by one. Anyone that dares to rush over or shout, will immediately be slashed by me. Suddenly, a thunderous voice resounded within the little bazaar. An old but tough GU master appeared in everyone's sights. And as he gazed at everyone with his ferocious gaze, the noisy little bazaar immediately went silent. This was the authority of a GU master. There was no one who didn't believe he wouldn't do what he just said. As a GU master, so long as their mood was bad, what was killing off 2 or 3 mortals considered? The crowd pushed and shoved each other, and soon lined up in a neat long row. In front of the queue, the green-clothed girl held a basket of steamed buns and distributed them. The whole little bazaar was absolutely silent. Countless gazes looked at the green-clothed girl with respect, worship and even love. Bai Ningbing was curious and asked the stall owner to the side, "Who is she?" "What, you don't even know of Lady Zhang Shenxi? You should be newcomers, right?" "Zhang Shenxi?" Fang Yuan asked, his brows tightly locked. "Speak up everything you know." The stall owner recalled how ruthlessly Fang Yuan had kicked the servant earlier. He didn't dare to conceal anything. "Lady Zhang is also one of the deputy leaders of our caravan. She doesn't have aptitude towards cultivation and is immortal like us. However, she has a strong background in her clan, the GU master beside her is her bodyguard. I have lived for so long, but truthfully, I have never seen such a kind-hearted person. Lady Zhang brings some food almost every evening for the starved servants. She comes even if the weather is bad. Heaven is unfair, they prevented such a person from cultivating." Bai Ningbing nodded her head and smiled, saying towards Fang Yuan, "Truly, all sorts of people exist in this world." Fang Yuan didn't respond. Bai Ningbing glanced at Fang Yuan in confusion, and saw something wrong with Fang Yuan's expression. The latter was gazing fixedly at the green-clothed girl, his brows almost furrowed into a knot. The green-clothed girl had silky jet black hair draping over her shoulders, accentuating her beauty. Her eyebrows were thin like smoke, her eyes as clear as the moon. Her skin was snow white, and her lips were pink and tender. She had no makeup on her face, looking soft and gentle. The slight smile she gave from time to time when distributing the steamed buns was pure and innocent. She was wearing green clothing and had a fresh and plain aura. She was elegant like an orchid, graceful like a lotus and gentle like water. In terms of looks, she was on the same level as Bai Ningbing, but she could be said to be once in a thousand years beauty. If a woman has fine appearance, they can only be considered to be good-looking, just like common beverages. Only with disposition can they be called beautiful, like well-aged liquor. No doubt, this green-clothed girl was an absolute beauty. However, no matter how beautiful you were, how moving your disposition was, they were all pointless in Fang Yuan's eyes. Fang Yuan was not looking at her appearance. No matter how beautiful and what disposition one had, if you cut open their skin and flesh, they were all skeletons. However, he was baffled as he thought of a certain figure. Isn't this girl Shang Shenxi? Shang Shenxi was one of the young masters of the Shang clan. Within a clan, the clan leader's sons and daughters were all called young masters. Only the heirs who are able to obtain the elders' approval could be called young clan leader. With her identity as the young master of the Shang clan, Shang Shenxi was a girl with good fortune. Everyone knew the Shang clan members were greedy and treacherous, but this Shang Shenxi was the only exception. She was soft and weak, didn't like fighting, and was very lenient. She was the worst businessman of the Shang clan. When she did business, she not only made frequent losses, but was also frequently cheated by others. She easily trusted others, and the crucial point was she didn't learn after being cheated and would continue to be cheated by others. As the young master of the Shang clan, she was once taken as a disgrace of the Shang clan and was someone no one thought highly of. However, considering that she possessed the bloodline of the Shang clan leader, she was not expelled from the clan. She didn't discriminate mortals but instead felt strongly sympathetic towards them, giving care and assistance. Several times, she had even bought off all the slaves in auction, and was severely reprimanded by the Shang clan leader. However, fate was truly wonderful. In the end, she became the head of the Shang clan. Chapter 236. Chapter 236. Kindness will be rewarded. But why is she here? And, why is she called Zhang Shenxi? In my memories, she was clearly a GU master. Why are they saying she doesn't have cultivation aptitude and is immortal? Fang Yuan was bewildered. Is she not Shang Shenxi and is only similar in appearance? But this is too similar. No, wait a second. Fang Yuan's rummaged through his mind, and suddenly, he extracted a very old information from the depths of his memories. Shang Shenxi had a rough life. She was an illegitimate child born of Shang clan leader when he had gone out to travel. She didn't have a father since young and had to endure being bullied. After her mother died, her life became more difficult. She was forced by her clansmen to follow the caravan and become a merchant. In the end, when she arrived at Shang clan city, the Shang clan leader sensed her bloodline. Shang clan leader felt both surprised and happy, admitting her as his daughter in front of the public. But he still felt he owed her a lot, thus he would bear with and cover up a lot of her mistakes. Upon thinking this, Fang Yuan's gaze brightened. So that's it, I understand now. Combining the situation before him with the broken clues in his memories, Fang Yuan arrived at the truth. Many years ago, when Shang clan leader was only a young master of the Shang clan, he left his seat in Zhang clan. It was Shang Xinxi. Shang clan and Zhang clan were at odds with each other since ancient times. When Shang Xinxi was born, her mother didn't dare to reveal about the Shang clan leader due to this. Thus, Shang Xinxi was born as a disgraceful illegitimate child and took on her mother's surname. This was the reason why she was still being called as Zhang Xinxi. After her mother died, she was forced by the clansmen to be a merchant. And after she ended up arriving at Shang clan city, her bloodline was discovered. Her father had also become the Shang clan leader, and with such a high status, he acknowledged her in front of everybody, completely changing her fate. So to say, this caravan is her first journey as a merchant. Fang Yuan's heart began to thump loudly when he realized this. One should know, this Shang Xinxi was a stock that was absolutely guaranteed to increase. She was the future Shang clan leader. No one would believe it if it was said now. Of course, the future was prone to changes. Even in the original track in his memories, there were drastic changes in the world, and even the powerful Shang clan was already ruined by the time she became the clan leader. To Fang Yuan, waiting till she became Shang clan leader was a very long investment without any returns. Her value didn't lie in the time she became the clan leader, but rather when she was acknowledged by the Shang clan leader and became one of the Shang clan's young masters. As a young master, she would definitely be given responsibility over a part of the business. This was the tradition of the Shang clan to nurture the clan's successors. It was exactly this point which Fang Yuan desired. He needed a way to dispose of the goods, a stable, favorable and safe channel. In his important plans after his rebirth, this was absolutely necessary. In the future, he would definitely open up many secret inheritances. There would be many things which he does not need, and by selling them he would be revealing their enormous worth. For instance, those bone spear GU and spiral bone spear GU in Bai Ningbing's aperture currently. Fang Yuan and Bai Ningbing just needed one of them, at most another one for backup. If they didn't sell them, these GU would just die in their hands and they would even waste a lot of milk in feeding them. Previously, Fang Yuan had intended to temporarily use Jia Jinsheng as a channel to dispose goods, then it would be best if he could connect to Jia Fu to nurture this channel. The result, Destiny liked to play with people. Because of being subjected to the secret of Flower Wine Monk's inheritance, he had no choice but to kill Jia Jinsheng. This is a gift heaven has sent to me. Fang Yuan heaved a deep sigh as his gaze towards the distant Shang Xinxi turned bright as fire. Shang clan had deep foundations, at least before that violent storm which engulfed the southern border. It was one of the overlords of the southern border. When stolen goods were sold to them, the victims wouldn't dare to come find trouble. However, because their influence was too strong, Fang Yuan is also worried about possible backstabbing. They belonged to righteous path on the surface, but the core of the Shang clan members were all black. This was actually quite normal. However, Shang Xinxi was the exception. She had been tested by many changes and upheaval in the history of her 100 years. Her kindness, gentleness, benevolence and honesty were praised far and wide in Fang Yuan's previous life, her reputation resounding all over the southern border. The most important thing was that she didn't have any foundation. Different from other young masters, she would walk a solitary path after she arrived at Shang clan city. In future, she would make many mistakes, but it wasn't because she was not intelligent, but rather because of the other young masters' secret plotting to suppress their competitor. Fang Yuan needed her as a channel, and she also similarly needed the external help, Fang Yuan, if she wanted to live a better life in the future. Most importantly, she was easy to manipulate and influence. Her youth and kind nature were both weaknesses Fang Yuan could exploit. Ha ha ha, Bai Ningbing suddenly laughed from the side. You took a fancy to her, right? What? Fang Yuan's thoughts paused. Don't pretend, we are both men, I can understand just from looking at your gaze. Anyway, this little girl is quite pleasing to the eyes, but it will be very difficult for you to obtain her. Unless I help you and find an opportunity to secretly kidnap her. As an exchange, give the Yang Ji to me first. Bai Ningbing tried to entice Fang Yuan. However, Fang Yuan's next sentence made her seethe in anger. You are a man. Things were a bit troublesome now. First of all, Fang Yuan needed to approach Shang Xinxi, then obtain her trust. However, he didn't have a lot of time, he must settle everything before she reaches Shang clan city. Bai Ningbing's idea of capturing her was too dumb and risky, it would just cause the situation to be even more messed up. Fang Yuan was very clear the reason why Shang Shenxi could be repeatedly cheated. It was not that she was stupid, but rather she was too kind. In his previous life, there was a demonic path figure called Night Gentleman. He was an expert thief and was as cunning as a fox. He had swindled Shang Shenxi many times using the same excuse. One day, he couldn't endure it anymore and asked, "I always tell you this, aren't you worried I am swindling you?" At that time, Shang Shenxi had replied, "You say you are unable to make ends meet, and if you aren't able to immediately borrow some primeval stones, your family will starve to death. I know that you are most likely deceiving me, but every time you say this, I can't bear to think that what if you were saying the truth this time? And if I didn't lend you the money, then several lives might be lost. Although, that is not likely to happen, I don't want to bet on it." When the Night Lord heard Shang Shenxi's reply, he couldn't stop his tears from flowing. He was so moved by her that he fell on his knees on the spot. After this event, he changed from demonic to righteous, and followed Shang Shenxi with unwavering loyalty, achieving many war exploits. The sun was slowly swallowed by the mountain ranges in the west and the night gradually descended. The long queue of people also decreased, till all the servants received food and dispersed. "Alright, that's it for today. I will come again tomorrow." She hadn't even finished speaking when a figure suddenly jumped in front of her. What kind of face was this? Eyebrows all burned off, only a bit of hair remained and one ear less. Who was it if not Fang Yuan? Shang Shenxi was startled, the maids behind her even screamed in fright. "What the hell are you doing?" That tall and sturdy old GU master immediately shouted. "Lady Zhang, please buy my goods." Fang Yuan didn't care about this old GU master, and screamed towards Shang Shenxi. Bai Ningbing silently stood far away, enjoying Fang Yuan's performance. "I have one steamed bun remaining, take it, okay." Shang Shenxi revealed a gentle smile. She didn't feel any revulsion towards Fang Yuan, only sympathy. She tried to think of how much pain he must have experienced for such severe wounds. Sigh, such a pitiful person. Fang Yuan but threw the steamed bun on the ground. "I don't need this, I want to sell my goods. I sold my old house and bought this cart of purple maple leaves. But I haven't been able to sell it, the leaves will soon wither up, what meaning will my life have then? Sob sob, I don't want to live if I can't sell it. I should just smash my head and die." He started to weep while speaking. He stamped his feet and howled, his expression carried a hint of madness and was extremely moving. Bai Ningbing was dumbstruck. This acting skill, I really have no hope of catching up. If she didn't know about Fang Yuan, even she might have been deceived by Fang Yuan. She then observed the expressions and gazes of the crowd, stunned, disdainful, sympathy, indifference, but there were no suspicions. Who was this man, charging over so suddenly, scared me to death. Such greed, he actually wants Lady Zhang to buy his goods. Serves him right, does he think trading is so easy? Sigh, the buyers must have demanded a lower price. When I think of those times I encountered. There were all kinds of discussions going on in the crowd. "Tisk, you lunatic, you actually dared to frighten our young lady, screw off this instant." That old GU master's tongue seemed to give off lightning sparks as he took a step forward and protected Shang Shenxi behind him. "Lady Zhang, I don't want to live if you don't buy my goods. Lady Zhang, you are a good person, please buy this cart of purple maple leaves and save me." Fang Yuan wailed without ceasing. Shang Shenxi's heart softened. "Sigh, don't cry. I will buy them, but life is the most valuable thing in our life, live properly from now and don't give up on life so easily. Uncle Zhongzhu, give him 3 primeval stones." "Miss," the old GU master's brows furrowed. "Huh, it worked. Maybe I should do this too." A commotion erupted among the stall owners. "Thank you lady, thank you. Lady Zhang, you are my, Hey-Tu's, savior." Fang Yuan was greatly ecstatic and there were signs of tears on his face as he repeatedly bowed. The old GU master's eyelids twitched, he looked at the cart behind Fang Yuan. "This cart of purple maple leaves is worth 2 primeval stones at most. 3 is too much." "Uncle Zhongzhu," Shang Shenxi said with a soft voice. The old GU master heaved a deep sigh. "Miss, it isn't that I am unwilling to part with 3 primeval stones. But this amount is too big for a mere servant like him. It is bound to attract those who will eye the money and scheme against him. Miss, for his own safety, we should just give him 2 primeval stones. Moreover, all the peddlers might come over tomorrow if you give it to him like this." "Uncle Zhongzhu is correct, then please give him 2 primeval stones." Shang Shenxi pondered for a while and readily agreed. Fang Yuan accepted the 2 primeval stones with trembling hands. He looked deeply at Shang Shenxi. Miss Zhang, you are a great person, you will definitely be rewarded. Chapter 237. Chapter 237, Thrashing. Many stall owners looked at Fang Yuan in envy. Fang Yuan put the 2 primeval stones he received into his pocket, and abandoning the handcart, he directly left the small bazaar with Bai Ningbing. The way I see it, we should just directly capture her. Don't forget our current identities if you want to approach her. Bai Ningbing murmured quietly. Fang and Bai were currently laborers under Chen clan. They had relied on this identity to mix in with the caravan, but now this was undoubtedly the obstacle for Fang Yuan in approaching Shang Xinxi. However, Fang Yuan had already planned for it. He looked at Bai Ningbing and smiled. You are right. So I will go thrash people now. Bai Ningbing was stumped. Thrash. The clear night sky was studded with the bright stars. In a wide tent, several servants were sitting in a circle around a coal stove which had a pot on it. The upper part of the tent was opened, allowing the smoke from the burning coals to fly out. There was meat in the pot and the servants were all staring fixedly at it. Faint aroma of cooked meat began to float in the air and one could hear the occasional gulps of saliva. Brother Chang, I have made some inquiries on the details of the 2 newcomers. Skinny Monkey said. Oh, speak. The muscular servant called Brother Chang raised his eyebrows. These 2 were introduced by the village head of the hamlet near the Ziyu mountain. Skinny Monkey answered. That solves it. I remember that village head was originally immortal. The vice leader wanted a strategic point and casually awakened him. So they had this background. The group seemed to have come upon a realization. Although they have a GU master behind them, so what? Brother Chang's sister is our Lord Chen Xin's concubine. Someone shouted. These 2 newcomers are too bold. If they aren't taught a lesson, wouldn't they just climb over our head in the future? Keep quiet, we will listen to Brother Chang. Someone else shouted. The tent quieted down as everyone looked towards Brother Chang. Brother Chang appeared to be hesitating. Fang and Bai had a GU master behind them. Even if this GU master was not a Chen clan member, even if this GU master was an old geezer with half a foot in the coffin, he was in the end still a GU master. Have you found out the relation these 2 has with that old village head? Skinny Monkey immediately revealed an awkward expression. This Brother Chang, you also know that with our identities, being able to investigate even this is already not an easy thing. Brother Chang hesitated. Boss, these 2 newcomers are too unreasonable, look at their attitudes towards the Skinny Monkey today. They are clearly looking down at us. They must be taught a lesson. Right, that old village head was originally immortal like us, and with some bullshit luck became a GU master. What can we even take him as? Wasn't he able to become a GU master only because our Veed leader wanted to use him? He is no more than a high-ranked servant. Moreover, the caravan merchants always face dangers. Even if these 2 died, that village head wouldn't dare to settle it with our Chen clan. The noisy discussions made Brother Chang's frowns even deeper. The Skinny Monkey observed the situation for a long while. He had wanted to find trouble for Fang and Bai, but was instead oppressed by Fang Yuan this morning, causing him to feel full of hatred towards the latter. However, he knew that he had no background and he could only rely on Brother Chang for revenge. When he felt the time was right, he spoke. For the life of me, I can't believe what I heard earlier. A cart of purple maple leaves was actually sold for 2 primeval stones in the little bazaar. Brother Chang's eyes immediately brightened. What, 2 primeval stones? How can it be possible? The prices weren't lowered. Such luck. Which fool bought it? Skinny Monkey sneered as he spoke with disdain and envy. Who else is there? It is that young lady from Zhang clan, immortal, but look at her luck, living a good life. Damn, I recall how I had smuggled in some goods and how cheap I had to sell them. Why didn't I have these 2 guys' luck? Brother Chang's eyes became bloodshot. He indignantly said, we will put them in order tomorrow. Newcomers must show respect to their seniors. If they don't understand the rules, then we will just have to properly teach them. Yes, Brother Chang, we will do whatever Brother Chang says. Brother Chang is wise. Skinny Monkey flattered, then took out the stew with a soup ladle. The meat stew is done. Brother Chang, please taste it. The aroma of the meat assailed the nostrils. The Adam apples of many servants moved as they swallowed their saliva. Brother Chang licked his lips and took the soup ladle. He blew at it before bringing it closer to his mouth. Suddenly, the entrance curtain of the tent was lifted open. Fang Yuan walked inside. It's you. The crowd of servants were stunned. The target of their long schemings had unexpectedly appeared directly in front of them. This made them feel at a loss and dismayed. Skinny Monkey jumped to his feet and said with a sinister smile, Newbie, now you know fear. It is already too late for Apollo. He hadn't finished saying his sentence when Fang Yuan indifferently raised his foot. Bam! Skinny Monkey was directly kicked flying, his back smashing against the coal stove. The cooked meat stew splashed all over his body and burned him, causing him to scream tragically. The meat stew, all spilled. The meat we bought with our money pooled together. It is so hard to even taste it once, this bastard. Bastard, courting death. Instantly, all the servants stood up with resentment and roared as they charged at Fang Yuan. Fang Yuan threw the 2 primeval stones he was holding in his hand at them. Ouch! 2 persons were hit by the primeval stones, one covered his eyes and another covered his stomach, both screaming in pain. Despicable, actually using concealed weapons. Wait a second, this is primeval stones. The crowd that was charging over immediately slowed down when they heard this. 2 primeval stones lying on the ground drew the servants' gazes. Skinny Monkey's tragic scream also came to an abrupt stop as he stared fixedly at the primeval stones. Birds die for food, humans die for wealth. Has this guy gone mad? Actually throwing primeval stones at people. HMPH, he must have already been scared. These are primeval stones, I might not even earn one after 2 months of working. The group of servants' thoughts rumbled like the raging tide. Some started looking at Fang Yuan with a bit of hope, as if asking, do you have more primeval stones, come smash them at me. You dare to smash my eye, you are looking to die. The servant covering the eyes, shouted as he let go of his hand. His right eye was already swollen and purplish, he couldn't even open it. However, that didn't hinder him from grabbing the primeval stone. The rest of the servants quivered and they immediately looked at the other primeval stone on the ground. Bam! Every one of them pounced at that primeval stone, throwing everything about Fang Yuan to the back of their heads. Skinny Monkey gritted his teeth in pain as he grabbed towards the primeval stone, quicker than others. Mine, this is mine, he smashed it at me. The other servant who had been hit roared furiously. Screw off, monkey, weren't you injured? Why are you so fast? Someone shouted with his saliva flying all over. Shut your trap, who tripped me just now, stand up. Brother Chang's face was covered with dirt, he was furious. Suddenly, a hand appeared and pulled him. Who had such guts? Surprised and angry, he turned his head to look, coming face to face with none other than Fang Yuan's ugly face. He shouted, how dare you grab me? Let go of your dog paw. Bam! Fang Yuan waved his fist and punched his face. Brother Chang's nose bone instantly broke and blood started flowing madly. He felt intense dizziness and all he saw were stars spinning around. Fang Yuan let go of his hand and Brother Chang fell softly to the ground. My god, he punched Brother Chang. Brother Chang is injured, let's attack this bastard together. The servants were stumped for a while before coming back to their senses, immediately brandishing their fists as they pounced at Fang Yuan. Fang Yuan indifferently swept his fist horizontally, sending the nearest servant flying to the side. The servant's teeth were smashed. Immediately following, another servant closed at him. Fang Yuan aimed at his crotch and lightly kicked. Oh! This servant covered his crotch, his 2 eyes rolled over and immediately fainted. All the servants were down on the ground with few punches and kicks from Fang Yuan, the only one remaining was Skinny Monkey who was hiding in the corner. As Fang Yuan gazed at him, Skinny Monkey shivered and immediately fell onto the ground. I surrender, I surrender. Great hero, please be magnanimous. He begged loudly, kowtowing continuously. His head smashed on the ground and continued to produce muffled sounds. However, there was no sound of Fang Yuan's movement. Skinny Monkey raised his head with fear, but Fang Yuan had already left. The servants inside the tent were collapsed on the ground, some had fainted and some were moaning in pain. Fang Yuan walked in between the tents. The noise from earlier would have attracted many people. This was what Fang Yuan wanted. Bai Ningbing walked over from within a dark corner. It is just the first day and we have already beaten up working servants. This won't be good. She grinned, taking joy in this disaster. However, she was even more curious of why Fang Yuan did this. Fang Yuan didn't reply, walking towards the depths of this temporary camp. Soon, he arrived at his destination, a horse carriage. He had already inquired and knew this was where the old steward of the Chen clan slept. He didn't immediately go and knock on the carriage, but went into a dark area with no one in the vicinity. He took out the dagger he carried with him and began to slash himself. In the quiet surroundings, a soft sound of dagger cutting open a flesh could be heard. Bai Ningbing's brows raised when she heard it. She, once again, realized how ruthless and cruel Fang Yuan was. He didn't make even a sound when he cut himself with the dagger, and from the sound of it, he seemed to be quite skilled at it. It was as if he was not cutting himself, but some wood. Thud thud thud, the carriage door was knocked continuously. The narrow carriage was filled with goods, along with a small bed. Fortunately, the old steward was short, and when he curled up on the small bed, it didn't appear to be congested. Thud thud thud. The door was knocked again. The old steward, who had been sleeping soundly, frowned as he got up from the bed. Bang bang bang. The knocks were getting stronger. The old steward opened his bloodshot eyes. Who is it? It is me, old steward. A sound came in from outside the door. This voice was unfamiliar, but it also seemed to be a little familiar. The old steward's brows furrowed tighter, and after a long while, he recalled this voice belonged to the newcomer that joined just this morning. A newcomer actually doesn't understand the rules. What the hell are you doing disturbing someone's sleep in the middle of the night? Chapter 238. Chapter 238. Lady, save me. The old steward's anger surged to the skies. He decided to give Fang Yuan an unforgettable lesson. Bang! He opened the door. However, the scene that appeared in front of him was Fang Yuan's injuries and blood stains. The old steward got quite a shock. Forgetting his rage, he asked, "You, what happened? Has a beast pack raided us?" "No, old steward, it was those thieves that injured me, and snatched my primeval stones. Old steward, you need to seek justice for me." Fang Yuan wiped away his tears and shouted. "OWW, it hurts. Has that lunatic gone away? Damn it, that lunatic is too strong." The scene inside the tent was of a complete mess. The aroma of the meat stew was still there, but it could no longer be salvaged, and the pot was completely smashed. The group of servants were slowly recovering their senses. They either had bloody noses and swollen faces, or they were drawing in gasps of cold air. "Son of a mere newbie dares to beat us, this has gone too far. We have not even gone to find trouble with him yet, he dared to find trouble with us first. I cannot contain this anger. We cannot let this be, we must get back at him." "How? Can you even beat him?" "Why would we beat him? We will just tell on him and let the old steward handle him. This newbie is too tyrannical, how can we still work together later?" "That's right, pass those 2 primeval stones he threw to me. This will be the evidence," Brother Chang suddenly said. The tent immediately quietened down. Everyone knew this was just an excuse used by Brother Chang. The servants who hadn't been able to snatch the primeval stones looked at this with joy, looking at the skinny monkey and another servant. The 2 of them seemed to be mumbling, but didn't speak. Clearly, they didn't want to hand it over. Brother Chang was not stupid at all, as he said tactfully, "We are all injured, these 2 primeval stones are not only evidence, they are also our medical fees." These words resounded with the servants who wanted to have a share, as they spoke one after another. "Brother Chang is right. Monkey, hand the primeval stone to Brother Chang. Or are you thinking of becoming the boss? Brother Chang has a deep background, only he can avenge us. Brother Chang, we believe you." Under everyone's pressure, Skinny Monkey and the other servant could only purse their lips, and unwillingly hand over their primeval stone to Brother Chang. As Brother Chang received and felt the smooth, glossy primeval stones, he felt his nose didn't hurt so much anymore. However, right at this moment, the entrance curtain was suddenly lifted. Everyone was shocked, thinking Fang Yuan had come again. But the one that was staring at the scene was the old steward. "Old steward, what are you doing here?" "Old steward, we were just going to look for you." The servants were both surprised and joyous. The old steward's expression, however, was not good, especially when he saw those 2 primeval stones on Brother Chang's hand. His looks turned even more gloomy. He reached in front of Brother Chang in few steps, then snatched the primeval stones and gave several tight slaps to Brother Chang. Brother Chang was stupefied. The rest of the servants were also stupefied. After several moments, the group finally reacted. "Old steward, why are you so angry? Old steward, what are you doing?" The old man simply walked away and lifted open the curtains. "Chang, Skinny Monkey, you group of bastards, come out." Then he directly walked out of the tent. Brother Chang covered his face, but he didn't dare to oppose the old steward. He restrained his anger and walked out of the tent in bewilderment. The rest of the servants also followed him out of the tent. When they saw Fang Yuan standing to the side, his whole body was injured and his cloth was stained with blood. "Old steward, they are the ones who stole my primeval stones." Fang Yuan pointed at them and shouted with righteous indignation. "What the?" The servants only then reacted. "Brat, you dare slander us? Asshole, I will peel off your skin." The group of servants were furious and shouted one after another. Slap. A clear slap instantly suppressed the scene. The servant who was shouting the most, was covering his face, and involuntarily took a step back from the slap. The old steward looked at him darkly. Why wouldn't he complain? Hee hee, you guys are getting more and more out of control, you even dare to snatch the primeval stones of your workmate. The old steward was well aware of the bullying on newcomers, but he was glad to see that happen. This was a necessary process. On one hand, it would suppress the arrogance of the newcomers, making his supervision work easier. On another hand, it could also promote the harmony between the old comers and the newcomers. However, the bullying this time went too far. They directly snatched the primeval stones. What difference was there between them and the bandits? Old steward, it isn't what you are thinking. Someone complained. Slap. Another clear slap. The old steward's tone turned cold. Did I tell you to speak? Old steward, we must speak up. Yes, we are being accused. Many servants shouted, feeling wronged. We are the victims here. The old steward seethed in anger as he shouted fiercely. You guys took his primeval stones and you actually dare to say you are being accused. These two primeval stones, are they his or not? Speak honestly. Yes, it is, but, slap slap, 2 slaps, the 2 servants shut their mouths. The old steward pointed at them and angrily rebuked. Okay, let's forget about snatching the primeval stones, you actually dared to use knives. You sure have guts. Speak up, who used the knife? When the servants were crippled and couldn't work anymore, their recuperation and treatment would be expenses. If such matters were delayed, the target of the GU master's blame would be the old steward. Using knife, we didn't. Old steward, we are all experienced, who doesn't know about this? A load of bullshit. Do you think I am blind? If you didn't use knives, then where did his injuries come from? Are you telling me he cut himself? The old steward continued to angrily shout. Bai Ningbing thought inwardly, while looking at this scene from a dark corner not far away. Old steward, you are quite smart, you actually guessed it. Slap, slap, slap. The old steward's anger had reached an extreme as he slapped the servants one after another. Every servant received few slaps. None dared to speak up in fear of the old steward's authority. They could only clench their fists in anger. The veins in their forehead out and cracking noises were emitted from their teeth grinding. They were all filled with stuffed feeling with nowhere to vent it on. Get back to the tent, I will settle the accounts with you tomorrow. The old steward's hands were already numb from the slapping. As he was old, he was having trouble breathing, but his anger had also mostly dissipated. The servants didn't dare to go against this order, but before leaving all of them angrily looked at Fang Yuan, engraving his image in the depths of their hearts. The old steward walked towards Fang Yuan and gave him the primeval stones, saying with an annoyed tone, you got your primeval stones back, don't lose them again. I won't give a damn if you lose them again. Fang Yuan was sniffing and weeping, he seemed to be both moved and afraid. Old steward, please safeguard these 2 primeval stones for me. I am afraid they will be snatched. Old steward was speechless for a while, before feeling a rush of excitement. Merchants will always be in danger. Maybe one day Fang Yuan would be swallowed by the wild beasts. Wouldn't these 2 primeval stones be his then? All right, I will take it upon myself to safeguard them for you. The old steward said. Thank you, old steward, you truly are a good person. Fang Yuan repeatedly bowed and kept on expressing his thanks. All right, I am tired, you should go rest too. The old steward waved his hand and impatiently walked away. As for where Fang Yuan slept, it wasn't his concern. This He-Tu is truly stupid. The old steward sneered inwardly. After everyone left, Fang Yuan's expression turned back to normal. The wounds on your body are still bleeding, aren't you going to treat them? Bai Ningbing came over. I still have use for them, let's go. Fang Yuan smiled. Inside a tent, oil lamps were lit. Shang Xinxi was holding a book, when suddenly her brows slightly furrowed. Xiao Dai, did you hear that? It seemed like someone is crying for help. The servant girl called Xiao Dai was dozing off with her head slowly moving up and down. It wouldn't be okay if she slept before the young lady. Right now, she was startled awake. She leaned her ears to listen and immediately said, Wah, someone is crying for help. Who is crying so late in the night? Why is it you again? Shang Xinxi's bodyguard GU Master Zhang Zhu walked out and saw Fang Yuan. Fang Yuan was slumped on the ground, snot and tears falling down. Get lost. I will kill you if you don't get lost right this moment. Zhang Zhu shouted. He didn't have good impression of Fang Yuan. Uncle Zhang Zhu. At this time, Shang Xinxi and the servant girl walked out. How come it is you again, are you haunting us? The servant girl's eyes were wide open when she saw Fang Yuan. Fang Yuan ignored them and only looked at Shang Xinxi. Zhang clan lady, my life has been harmed by you and only you can save me. Tisk, you lunatic, what nonsense are you saying? Zhang Zhu angrily shouted. Our young lady is very kind-hearted, how could she harm you? Lady, let's go, don't pay attention to this lunatic. The servant girl chided Fang Yuan. Shang Xinxi's nature was such that she could never see others suffering in helplessness. Fang Yuan's blood-soaked and wounded body had already won her sympathy. Now, with his words, if Shang Xinxi didn't get involved, she would definitely not be able to have a good sleep. You say you were harmed by me. What do you mean, Uncle Zhongzhu? I have to trouble you to heal him first. Shang Xinxi said. Although Zhongzhu was not willing, he could only do as she said. He pushed his hands, a white ball of light entered Fang Yuan's body, the bleeding immediately stopped and the wounds were gradually closing up. Fang Yuan said, "It was those 2 primeval stones, the others were envious of it and snatched my primeval stones. I can't fight them and could only ask the old steward to uphold justice. They have returned the primeval stones, but threatened that they will teach me a lesson and make my life worse than death." So, it was like that. Shang Xinxi sighed when she heard this. You reap what you sow. Lady, we shouldn't get involved with him. He clearly brought this upon himself, selling at such a high price. Did he think everything would be fine? Xiao Dai rolled her eyes, showing her displeasure at Fang Yuan. Fang Yuan continued. I have discussed it with my companion, we can only rely on Lady Zhang. Otherwise, we will be killed by them, 2 lives will be lost. It won't go as far as killing, Shang Xinxi comforted Fang Yuan. Fang Yuan interrupted her. Lady, you don't know how dark it is here. They will plot against me during the beasts' attacks. Maybe one day, I will be eaten by the wild beasts, but actually it was manipulated by them behind the scenes. Lady, I beg you to take us in your shelter, please save us. Shang Xinxi hesitated, but she finally couldn't bring herself to reject him. All right, I will temporarily take you guys in. Chapter 239. Chapter 239, Feihu Mountain. Miss, you can't. Zhongzhu immediately said. Miss, our Zhang clan's group here has the least power in the whole caravan. If we take him in, no doubt we will offend another force. It's not worth doing it for just 2 insignificant servants. Miss, even if not for yourself, think about our Zhang clan's group here, or just think of those with you. Zhongzhu persuaded. This, Shang Xinxi was placed in a dilemma and couldn't make a decision. What difficulty is there? Lady Zhang, I am only a hired hand of Chen family and am not their servant. Lady, if you are still feeling troubled, I have a way to solve it. You can tell the Chen clansmen that I and my companion offended you, and you want to punish us so you are imprisoning us. Chen clan definitely won't offend you for us 2 mortals. Fang Yuan said. That is a good idea. Shang Xinxi's gaze brightened. Miss, Zhongzhu gave a helpless sigh, knowing he couldn't persuade her anymore. Fang Yuan immediately crawled up with a stick and bowed at Shang Xinxi. Miss Zhang, you are a good person. I will definitely repay you in the future. Shang Xinxi shook her head. I don't need you to repay me. I will definitely help those who need my help to the best of my ability. Sleep in my camp tonight. Xiao Dai, arrange a tent for them. Yes, Missy, Xiao Dai answered, unwillingly. Follow me, don't blame me if you get lost. Xiao Dai didn't show Fang Yuan any hospitality, but led the way anyway. Zhongzhu's brows furrowed deeper as he looked at Fang and Bai's leaving figures. He didn't like these 2 from the depths of his heart, and at the same time he had to think of Shang Xinxi's safety as her bodyguard. He decided to personally handle this matter. This was a small tent with not much space inside. However, Fang and Bai didn't care. They had treated even the beast-trapping trees as tents, much less this environment which was much better. The 2 laid down in the dark tent. Fang Yuan clasped his hands with Bai Ningbing's. Everything will be okay, Bai Yun. Bai Ningbing rolled her eyes, she knew Fang Yuan's true intention. In the darkness, she transferred a portion of her snow-silver primeval essence to Fang Yuan through her palm. Sleep early, luckily we met such a good person like Lady Zhang. Fang Yuan closed his eyes the moment he finished saying this, and began cultivating secretly. He was already rank 2 now, his primeval sea filled with red steel primeval essence. Although he could already use 4 flavors liquor worm, Bai Ningbing's snow-silver primeval essence was no doubt much better. To Fang Yuan, 4 flavors liquor worm had already lost its use with Bai Ningbing here. Snow-silver primeval essence cleaned and refined the aperture, rapidly increasing Fang Yuan's accumulation. He didn't need to worry about his aura leaking out with the breath-concealing GU. His disguise wasn't likely to be broken unless he used the GU worms outside of his body. At present, breath-concealing GU had yet to truly walk onto the world stage. In his previous life, Only after 150 years, it was made popular by the hunting king Sun Gon. Within 50 years after that, in that great war that affected the whole southern border, breath-concealing Jiyu was widely used and took the limelight. In other words, according to Fang Yuan's previous life, mankind would be conscious of guarding against the breath-concealing Jiyu only after 150 years. And after 200 years, they would have methods and experience to respond against the breath-concealing Jiyu. Breath-concealing Jiyu was a rank 3 Jiyu. This caravan didn't have a rank 4 Jiyu master, and although there were many Jiyu masters, why would they especially pay attention to He Tu and Bai Yun, two ordinary people? Fang Yuan immediately activated crocodile strength Jiyu after the portion of snow silver primeval essence was used up. Bits of new strength was permanently added to his body. His skeleton was no longer white, but was like firm black iron. It was like a firm cornerstone, stably supporting the continuous increase in strength. The night passed quietly. The next day, at the crack of dawn when the sun had just risen, the whole camp was awake. After a period of hustling and bustling, the caravan resumed its journey. Zhang Zhu didn't go directly to Chen clan, but rather made secret inquiries through his subordinates first. There was indeed a fight yesterday night, and many had witnessed it. As for Brother Chang and his group, they had covered up the fact that Fang Yuan had beat them up. If it were to be known that so many of them couldn't beat one Fang Yuan, they would lose all their face. How would they be able to go around then? In fact, they had gone through everything yesterday and strung up false statements which they all agreed to, saying they bullied the newcomer and Fang Yuan offered them primeval stones, but later he was indignant and looked for the old steward. After confirming the fight really happened, Zhang Zhu set out and found Chen clan's head in the caravan. This vice leader couldn't help but ponder when he heard his two mortal subordinates offended Zhang Xinxi and were detained. Although he wouldn't offend Zhang clan because of two mortals, if he just readily compromised, Chen clan's prestige could fall. Moreover, he had some close people among the servants. Thereupon, he inquired which two servants they were. Chen clan's vice leader was slightly surprised when he heard Zhang Zhu's answer. He had some impressions of these two. He had let them enter because of the old village head's request. But to think, they had screwed up on their first day. According to him, Fang and Bai should be the old village head's relatives, but so what? The old village head was someone he enlightened and was someone under his control. Giving up these two would not mean anything to him. Moreover, they were the ones who had committed crimes, bringing troubles upon Chen clan. Even death would not be sufficient punishment. As he thought of this, the vice leader had already decided to give up these two to resolve the conflict with Zhang clan. However, he put on a difficult expression. Brother Zhang, I won't conceal from you, our Chen clan might not have enough manpower if you take those two. We can't make our GU masters work and move the goods, right? How about this? I will call my steward over. He understands the situation. If there really is a scarcity in manpower, we might not be able to hand those two to you at the moment. We will temporarily keep them here and hand them to your Zhang clan to deal with after we get new workers in the next village. That works. Zhang Zhu nodded his head. Vice leader couldn't help but reveal a smile. Like this, there wouldn't be any gossips and rumors saying Chen clan was afraid of Zhang clan. The old steward was somewhat nervous when he was called over. Did I make some mistake? However, when he was clear of the situation, he suddenly felt alive. This was a heaven-sent opportunity. These two are really out of luck, falling into Zhang clan's hands. Die, both of you die, then those two primeval stones would be mine. Thinking of this, the old steward immediately slapped his chest and guaranteed that there were no issues with the manpower. Even if there were to be some issues, he was determined to stake out his weary-aged body to personally move goods for those two primeval stones. Now, the dust had already settled regarding this matter. Zhang Zhu bade his farewell. His heart, however, felt stuffed. In the coming dozen or so days, Fang and Bai worked during the day and cultivated during night. The caravan had already left Ziyu Mountain far behind and was now in Feihu Mountain region. Fang Yuan knew the farther they were from Ziyu Mountain, more concealed his identity would be and thus, more safety. Through these few days of cultivating, he had gained half a crocodile's strength. Unfortunately, a lot of bone spear Gu had starved to death. The amount of milk spring on him was less than sufficient. He could only give up some to feed the remaining Gu worms. Fang Yuan felt heartache due to this. Although he wouldn't use these Gu, they could have been sold. He planned to purchase a set of Gu worms in the Shang clan city. This required a great amount of primeval stones. He could use the Heavenly Essence Treasure Lotus to produce dozens of primeval stones daily, but he couldn't use it in the caravan so as to prevent his identity from being revealed. Hence, he needed to get Shang Xinxi in his grasp even more. She would become one of the young masters once they reached Shang Clan. This would make Fang Yuan's trip in Shang Clan City extremely convenient. Of course, the premise was that he not only needed to get close to Shang Xinxi, but also gain her trust. The forest in the mountain was dark and mysterious with fog lingering around the air. The caravan slowly moved through the narrow mountain passage, and as they traveled further, the fog became denser, the range of their sights shrunk till they could only see within 10 steps. Feihu Mountain was covered with fog. Fang and Bai would need to go through great troubles if they had traveled by themselves. However, they were in a caravan now, and there naturally were investigative GU masters. Suddenly, there was some sort of clamor in front of them. The caravan stopped. What's happening? There is trouble. Monkey groups are blocking our path. In moments, most of the people in the caravan began discussing, but none of them were surprised. Feihu Mountain was ruled by monkeys. There were too many monkeys to count. Caravans passing through this place would be blocked by the monkey groups and robbed. Anyone who had some experience and knowledge would not feel surprised at this. Monkeys of the Feihu Mountain. Hee, I have read about them in the books to think I could personally see them today. Bai Ningbing softly said with a hint of excitement. Initially, when the caravans had first passed through Feihu Mountain, they had a huge fight with the monkey groups. They killed waves after waves of monkeys, but the monkey groups appeared again and again. Finally, the caravans were either annihilated or had to retreat in defeat. Feihu Mountain was once known as a forbidden and unpassable land for merchants. If it were other mountain ranges, the different wild beasts kept each other in check, and there would be a gap to pass through. However, there were only banded monkeys in Feihu Mountain. They lived together, and although there were fights between monkey groups, all the banded monkeys would unite if they came across an external enemy. Such strength was not something a caravan could rival. Even a large-scale clan might not be able to purge all these monkey groups. This was until the Sky Crown Marquis appeared. This was a rank 5 GU master of the righteous path. He traveled deep into Feihu Mountain until he reached the peak, and using a monkey language GU, he came to an agreement with the monkey emperor. Everything changed thereafter. A trade route opened through Feihu Mountain for the first time. Now, this trade route was one of the 3 most important trade routes of southern border, connecting east and west. Its importance was self-evident. These damn monkeys appeared again. They are blocking up our path. You all know the rules. I will tell you bluntly, anyone who breaks the rules and implicates us, my Jia clan will not let them off. The caravan leader shouted, coldly. Of course, Brother Jia Long is right, everything should be done according to the rules. Anyone that wants to take advantage will be driven out of the caravan. Other vice leaders went along with Jia Long. Chapter 240. Chapter 240, Arm Wrestling. Banded monkeys were very strong and were as big as an elephant. Mature banded monkey could reach 10 meters of height and had bulging muscles all over their body. Their arms were over 2 times thicker than their legs and their tails were like iron rods, capable of pulverizing rocks. The fur of banded monkeys were golden with black tiger stripes covering their body. What was peculiar was the fur from their waist grew out naturally to cover the crotch and the butt area, just like a leather skirt. Howl, the monkey king of this banded monkey group, suddenly opened its large mouth and gave a loud howl. Its howl were as forceful as lions and tigers. Hoo! The monkey king's howl was answered by the other monkeys. The howls created sound waves which engulfed the surroundings, scattering the winds and clouds along with the dense white fog. Within seconds, everyone's sights broadened and only then did they realize both sides of the passageway were filled with banded monkeys. Over 1,000 banded monkeys had surrounded the caravan. They were enormous, the same size as the trees. Some young trees could only reach up to their waists. In front of the caravan was the Monkey King who had an even larger physique, and was boldly sitting on a stone bench. A gray stone wine jar that was as big as a water tank, was lying on its side, giving off a dense fragrance of alcohol. The Monkey King stopped after howling once, but the other banded monkeys were still howling without stop. This instead enhanced the Monkey King's majesty. Its eyes were sharp and bright, its gaze tranquil as it sat there without moving. In contrast, those ordinary banded monkeys were getting restless as they stared at the caravan's goods, itching to have a go. Wild beasts like monkey, fox and wolves possessed intelligence. This banded Monkey King's intelligence might only be equal to 3-year-old child and wasn't at the level of cunning lightning wolf, but it was enough for it to communicate. The leader of the caravan, Jia Long, narrowed his eyes at the Monkey King and suddenly said, "Jia Yang, go." "Yes, chief." Jia Yang stood up. He was tall and fat, especially with his bulging stomach, but he was actually rather robust. He was defensive GU master and his lifebound GU was water armor GU. He was a rank 2 GU master and was specialized in fighting in water. Once, when he was swimming in a river, he luckily encountered a boat-sized tortoise and killed it, obtaining a tortoise strength GU from its body. After he used it, he was able to permanently gain the strength of a tortoise. The monkey groups howled even more fiercely when they saw Jia Yang coming closer, their voices shaking the whole forest. Jia Yang had a solemn expression as he lifted his sleeves and stood in front of the Monkey King. The Monkey King was enormous and even while sitting, it was still taller than Jia Yang by a head. It looked at Jia Yang and howled. Several bandit monkeys immediately brought a stone table while panting hard. The stone table was as large as a bed and was extremely heavy, producing a muffled sound as it landed on the ground. Another 2 bandit monkeys came over and moved a stone stool, placing it in front of the Monkey King. The Monkey King slammed at the stone table. The sounds produced was as if he had beaten a large drum. Jia Yang gulped a mouthful of saliva and sat down. He placed his right elbow on the table and extended his forearm. The Monkey King similarly extended his left hand, 2 palms tightly grasped each other. Beside the table was an elderly female bandit monkey who suddenly shouted. Jia Yang and the Monkey King heard the signal and immediately put strength in their arms, starting this uncommon style of strength contest. Bandit monkeys respected strength and arm wrestling was their main social activity. Young monkeys could arm wrestle immediately after being born. Arm wrestling was not only a game for bandit monkeys, it was also commonly used method to resolve disputes. In the past, the righteous GU master Sky Crown Marquis was only a rank 5 GU master, he naturally wasn't able to slaughter the mountain with this strength. It was this arm wrestling custom of the bandit monkeys he used to reach the peak of the bandit monkey mountain and win against the monkey emperor. He was then able to obtain the monkey group's approval and came to an agreement, opening the trade route. From then on, any caravans that were passing through Feihu Mountain would follow this agreement and arm wrestle with the bandit monkeys. If they won, they would obtain the bandit monkeys' approval and be able to pass without paying the toll. If they lost, they would have to let the monkey group take a portion of their goods. With this, the caravans could carry out their business and the bandit monkeys were also happy to be able to get benefits. As the years went by and the caravans abided by the agreement, the trade route began to gradually flourish and the agreement also gradually stabilized. Jia Yang, sitting opposite the Monkey King, was flushed red, his expression was twisted as he was already using all his strength. However, he still couldn't resist the Monkey King's strength, and his arm began to gradually incline to the side until finally the Monkey King's arm slammed Jia Yang's arm to the table. Victory! Monkey King stood up and excitedly beat his chest with his fists. The rest of the monkeys were howling and screeching, the noise was frightening. Jia Yang walked back to the caravan with his head lowered. The bandit monkeys teased and taunted him while he was walking back, some lifted their leather skirt, showing their butts at Jia Yang, some made faces, and some shook their fingers at him. To think there would be a day where I am ridiculed by a bunch of beasts, Jia Yang gave a helpless sigh with a bitter smile on his face. Jia Long showed no expression, and just raised his hand. Jia Clan's troops began to move forward, the monkeys flocked towards them and began to wantonly take goods from the wagons. Jia Clan had already made careful considerations. They covered the high-quality coal stones with a layer of colorful and gorgeous silk and thin fabric. The monkeys were all attracted by these colorful cloth, and let go of the more valuable ash-gray high-quality coal stones. The monkeys were very happy with their choices, playing around with the cloths. Many wrapped the cloth around their arms, waists and even draped the cloth over their shoulders. The whole scene was noisy and chaotic. "Where is Jia Ping?" Jia Long shouted with a heavy voice. Jia Ping slowly walked out. His body was starkly in contrast to Jia Yang, he was thin as stick and looked extremely fragile. "I will avenge you." He patted Jia Yang's shoulder as he walked past him. "This will naturally be easily over with brother Jia Ping making a move." Jia Yang cupped his hands and gave a forced smile. Jia clansmen let out a breath of relief upon seeing Jia Ping moving out, their expressions clearly easing up. The bandit monkeys let out odd yells when they saw Jia Ping's physique, their gazes filled with contempt and disdain. Monkey King was already sitting down, he indifferently lifted the wine jar and drank a mouthful of monkey wine. "They are indeed animals, judging people by appearances." Jia Long sneered. Jia Ping looked weak, but actually possessed strength of 2 bears. It was just that he used tendon coiling GU which intertwined his whole muscles and tendons just like tree roots, and thus compressing his muscles. Jia Ping sat down and stretched his arm. His arm wasn't even a quarter of the Monkey King's arm. However, after they started, the deadlock only lasted a moment before the Monkey King was defeated. Instantly, the howls and screeches of the monkeys stopped. The Monkey King's eyes were opened as wide as saucers, revealing an incredulous expression. Jia Long chuckled and waved his hand, signaling the troop to continue moving. The monkeys that were blocking the path automatically made away and didn't make any moves. When a portion of Jia Clan's troops moved forward, the monkeys howled and again blocked the path. The Monkey King wasn't convinced in its loss as it slammed the stone table and challenged Jia Ping. Jia Ping had a smile on his face as he gained another victory. Everyone, I am going to move first. Jia Long cupped his hands and after calling out to the others, the Jia clan's troops and wagons passed through the checkpoint. Alright, next it is my Lin clan's turn. Lin Dong, Lin clan's vice leader shouted. The others didn't argue, they had already discussed the order of the caravan. Time continued to pass and parts of the caravan had also moved forward. To pass through the Feihu Mountain and decrease the losses to the minimum, all the great clans nurtured a lot of specific GU masters. Ox strength, tiger strength, elephant strength, python strength, horse strength. The GU masters possessing these went to compete, each showing their talents, some lost and some won. Most of the people had passed through the checkpoint. Finally, it was Zhang clan's turn. Zhang Zhu didn't look good, he was a healing GU master and wasn't good at strength aspect. Moreover, when arm wrestling with the Monkey King, one could only use their strength and not the GU worms. If they were discovered to have cheated by using GU worms, they would be attacked and killed by the monkey groups. The troops Zhang clan brought in this caravan didn't have any other GU masters except him, a rank 3 GU master. Thus, they were the weakest in strength in the whole caravan. Shang Xinxi did not have an easy life in Zhang clan, and was shunted aside for being an illegitimate child. The situation had become worse after her mother died of illness. In light of her mother's will, Shang Xinxi sold the family assets and organized this caravan. Most of Zhang clan's people looked forward to this disgrace of the clan dying outside. Thus, they didn't send any GU masters to reinforce her. Uncle Zhang Zhu doesn't need to worry too much, they are nothing more than goods, it is okay as long as people are safe. Shang Xinxi had a delicate heart, she softly consoled Zhang Zhu when she noticed his expression. The only one remaining is Zhang clan. Tisk, no need to watch, they are sure to lose. I am quite familiar with that Zhang Zhu. It is said that Zhang clan's girl organized this merchant group by herself. Hence, there is only Zhang Zhu to put up a front. Many GU masters stood behind the checkpoint, waiting to see a good show. They had all, more or less, lost some goods, their mood were naturally not too good. Comparison produces happiness, the unlucky people often felt relieved by seeing a more unlucky person. Many were looking at Zhang clan, trying to find comfort in their hearts. Goods can be lost, only lives are truly important. Uncle Zhang Zhu, you don't need to go, we will just let these monkey groups take the goods. Shang Xinxi said. Sigh, miss, you don't know. We can't pass through without competing, these monkeys are very obstinate, we must arm wrestle. Miss, we can lose but we can't let others belittle us. I will go. Zhang Zhu cupped his hands and forced himself to walk out. Wait, right at this time, Fang Yuan walked out of the crowd. Miss Zhang, you are my benefactor. Let me be the one to go. He cupped his hands and said to Shang Xinxi. You, the servant girl Xiao Dai rolled her eyes, you are not a GU master, don't add trouble at this time of crisis. Shang Xinxi smiled. Hey too, I have received your intention. This isn't a joke, the Monkey King has great strength, didn't you see some of those GU masters' arms fractured? Miss, even if my arms fracture, I will repay you. Fang Yuan persevered. You, how can you be like this, not knowing your limitations? If your arm gets fractured, wouldn't it be my missy who has to waste time healing you? Xiao Dai waved her hand in disgust, don't stir trouble. Lady Zhang, you don't know, I have always had extraordinary strength since young, even adults didn't have as much strength as me when I was a kid. I must go this time. Fang Yuan then turned and walked towards the Monkey King. Hey too, Shang Xinxi wanted to stop him, but was stopped by Zhang Zhu. Miss, he is not a moron, he definitely has some confidence. Sometimes, we need to believe in others. Zhang Zhu persuaded. In fact, he had no faith in Fang Yuan. He only thought this would teach a good lesson to these mortals who had brought him trouble. Look, Zhang clan actually sent out a servant. Haha, Zhang clan has no people left, they are sending out a servant to lose face. Fang Yuan's figure soon attracted the attention of the others.